from water treatment and the sawn off, but it will be Baron coming in here to get that trade against Nixie, shut him down as well. The rest of Virtus Pro a little bit disconnected from that fight.
Yeah, this is a bit all over the place right now. I mean, Virtus Pro, that was a good chance for them. Need to move over as quick as possible to help Nixie potentially, but they're also looking for a position to play. Man, I mean, it almost had the second on the sawn off as well. He was playing out of his mind. Was Nixie just there? The rest of VP just don't want anything to do. I think it was DN Supers that took down Petrichor Road, by the way.
Yeah, Deal and the boys, yeah.
Pretty a ridiculously fast cleanup as well over on this eastern side. So very well played to them. Again, DN Supers have been fairly impressive so far overall. I mean, they've gone on the radar under teams which have had like some bigger games or more consistent games like Full Sense, but they have always been playing like quite well, even through the group stages yesterday.
Definitely. I assume, looking at the DN Super's position, that they were probably just coming across those fields of blasted map control, but at the same time, Poser here, double against Alo as well as Luke 12. Gustav takes Curdy, so there's only one left there for Team Liquid to be able to make something happen. So they went for a bit of a mad dash, leaving Cowboy all the way back at the garage by the looks of things, who is completely away from the rest of them. Yeah, okay, so Cowboy, it's up to you for some salvage points here, mate. What can you get done for Team Liquid? Now, technically, you've fallen out of top 8 for the moment. But again, early days here on day number 2.
Gorgeous little nade out the front door there from Poser as well. Yeah, really well played. Hard to time those as well, honestly. A lot of teams going a little bit stuttery, but take the bit easy there for Poser. So nicely done. Virtus Pro, though, they move a little bit further in. They're going to just have to leave Nixie behind. We get our next circle shift. Where's it heading? Over towards the northwest side. And Falcons are living life to the maximum right now. Up on the hillside, too, with a gorgeous compound. It might be a back-to-back. They might just qualify off the back of 2 games. Oh, Flash.
They may. Crazy Raccoons is also once again going crazy, trying to make a little bit of a send through against some of these teams, trying to thread the needle, but it's not going to be helping at all if Panzerfaust as well as these barrels are looking your way. Now trying to find another angle of approach. You're totally right in what I was saying. A win's not enough in some of these 5-game series here for Falcons, but with a compound like that, even if they don't get a win, I think they should be able to get enough kills from this kind of spot to confirm them in top 8.
Yeah, the wild off the back of 2 matches, but Shrimsy already finding Calmo. Doesn't quite get the flush, though. This does put Fury in a bit of an awkward position, trying to get out to actually assist him. They're going to have to invest a lot of smokes there.
It gets scary because, like, you can actually hit long-range panzers on those kind of buildings as well and hit them basically through into the window or against the wall and shut them down. So they've got to be very careful of Fury.
Hello, 4 AM. Just staring off into the distance. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, from this position, Falcons just have they've got the observatory position, right? They're swinging the telescope. They're looking for players. Especially when you confirm a lot of kills off the back of this. It's not necessarily a win, like you say. I mean, this could easily drop down towards back Hacienda, even though towards the fields, which is going to be awkward, but it'll keep them in a long while.
Okay, so Deal was able to do a lot, and actually they rocked up on one of the locations, but the backup on this split from shots is absolutely spectacular. I'm really glad we got this replay because, of course, we would have missed this during the S2G fight, but the lines of sight they had across multiple compounds there from DN Supers, super well executed.
Oh man, I think he hit like 5 headshots in the midst of all of that. It's crazy. Barely got into the front door before they fell down asleep, kind of like a drunkard getting home at 2 a.m. You got Gen G now, sending some nades over the top. It would have been a decent airburst, just cooked a little bit longer.
Yeah, tough to get that exactly right.
My Salute gets it.
He is a former world champion, so, you know, it's pretty good at the video game. Ooh.
No kiss.
Salute, gamer.
Happy coming back in. Kiss
can't
looking to
all be
hold
on
out.
Kiss, though. It can't all be on Kiss.
Every time it does feel like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's been moments. Admittedly, Jacob had some great plays as well. He had even some like very good highlights throughout the group stage, so we really can't take too much away. There's moments where Myth looks phenomenal across the entire roster, and then there's some times where they're just kind of bleeding out. And these first 2 games do feel like a bit of a slow bleed out. We get the shift now. Hacienda, Del Patron, still very much a fixture, but so is the Falcons compound, as now all of these teams are going to try and exist underneath some of these compounds, in some of these dips, to try and make headway.
Yeah, at least we do move away from the fields, which I think most teams probably actually happy about. DN Supers made a quick switch out over towards the western side, then leapfrogged a little bit further in. They saw 4AM coming in from that north side, so we'll keep an eye on them for the time being. Crazy Raccoon's going to send over towards a small shack towards the center, but I believe Falcons have found them. D does get the nade through the window over towards Kiss, and it's done and dusted.
Yeah, that was really good by D, because the thing is that there's a reason those buildings are called unpushables. And to be able to get rid of them with just util and then get moving, because the blue is going to be on their backs, and they know that they need to get rid of this as fast as possible. So pushing up, it being unpushable, yeah, maybe you get knocked here or there, but getting rid of it with the utility is the optimum scenario.
And Virtus Pro being their next contenders, it's not actually terrible because they are down a player at the moment. So for Virtus Pro, a little bit maybe of an easier push here for Gen G, but looks like they're going to ride the road over towards that western side, potentially try and perch themselves around the small rolling hills in that area. You got 17 a little bit further ahead of them too. Falcons pretty much just want to keep an eye on down towards San Martin, right? That's kind of where you want to look over towards. Lazar finding Fanadol from Full Sense, drops a little nade out the window. It'll be hard to get out.
I think Lazaro as a whole for S2G, they've not really got much from this game, but he has been hungry, right, to be able to get back in. Of course, towards the end of PEC, did swap out from CC and X to Lazar to be able to make it work, and maybe that's exactly what they need. Jeez Louise, hits some shots against Belmoth. And does he get a little bit more? Gets the heal off, waiting for maybe that push on around there. He's actually very exposed. He could get another one here. Could Lazar? Is he going to be able to take it? He lies down just slightly out of his line of sight there. Oh, and does get shut away. Claw is on the other side of things with the mortar against DN Supers. Lazar made a good meal of that, man, but it was all for naught in the end.
Yeah, no, there's just a couple more shots to hit, but to be honest, under the pressure that he was in, that's actually a very, very good play from him. Sort of ruins the day for Full Sense there. Could have maybe pushed their way out towards that eastern edge. They still have to deal with Twisted Minds, who, honestly, we don't really talk too much about during this tournament so far. They are playing over towards this western side. They had a nice turn up over towards the ending of the group stages. Now I want to see a little bit more from these guys.
Well, they got themselves a kill. You kind of willed it into existence, that one there, just then. But yeah, coming in from San Martin, right, the focus point has definitely not been on San Martin this game. So they've got some transitions they're going to need to think about. They've got vehicles on board as well, as they were just kind of holding this position. If blank they find themselves transitions into this later circle, they can be assured that there will be nobody on their western side. So that's a little bit of a stronger defensive mentality they could have, but the circle shifts away from them. I won't be surprised if they try to go towards Crazy Raccoon and maybe exist underneath Falcons, but they've definitely got a bit of a rougher time ahead of them.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how they're going to go about this, honestly. I mean, Falcons have spotted them already as well, which is super unideal. Twisted Mind is going to have to figure out what their next maneuver is. If they knew that Crazy Raccoons were down to 2 and they were in this spot, likely they would want to try and go for this one, but they just don't have the information, right? That's the big problem for them right now. So
they may. They may because of the match log, right? And also, like, when the knocks happened near them, they were actually within range for the kill feed to be able to show up that it was Crazy Raccoon's members. So they may, blank. We'll see what they want to do. Because it looks like right now they're going south, which is completely against what I think that they might play for.
Yeah, again, I mean that's the safe play, right? Is to move down towards that south side. But Gen G's around here, 17's in that location. They're just trying to clear out some of those more obvious spots. And I mean, if they can do that, maybe they can get themselves in. Kickstart looks over towards Twisted Minds as they can tell they're about to make a push.
Yeah, I think they believe. Yeah.
Let's split that up.
Okay, yeah, too. I think they believe that the lines of sight that Falcons has is just too oppressive. So going north is always going to be difficult. So they're trying to like skirt around south and then move on in. But it is just going to be so hard. Like, this is just an absolute death run. What are you supposed to do here? Knocked even before they come out of the blue. As the blue's pushing them, they don't have the vehicles. They get their tires popped. Yeah, it's not a good time for Twisted Minds.
It really isn't. I mean, again, this is sort of that methodical approach we were talking about before. If that was Crazy Raccoons down there, you can bet that they would be crashing over towards where they're currently playing.
Screaming, shooting.
And that might have been a play that worked out, but I think the Twisted Minds, they always look for the high EV play, right? The one that's probably going to benefit them the most in the long run. And although, yeah, they get shredded, that was a play that had a better chance of getting them towards that late game. VP moves up. They've got the BRDM. Ooh. They're moving over towards 17 Gaming. It's all a bit blocked in right now.
You can't park there, mate. Please, I need to reverse that. What is going on? This is congestion. This is ridiculous.
Sorry,
okay, so Bean.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess we'll go park elsewhere. This is.
What?
Never seen that. You see something new in PUBG every day, and that's one of them.
Is that the BRDM barn door battering ram? I guess that's how it works.
It's Grond from Minas Tirith trying to...
Literally dropping the drawbridge. I like that a lot. That's fantastic. That's a new maneuver. I'll steal that one in future. Bean from Gen G walks directly into a nade. It's not good news for 17 Gaming, though. Creative maneuvers. Love to see it. This thing is on its last legs, though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What an odd scenario we have. And now coming out northwest of Hacienda del Patron, those teams in there, aside from T1, are going to need to get a little bit of a move on. 17 already came out onto the west side there and is actually prioritizing what would be a pretty decent transition position if it wasn't for Virtus Pro being over the ridge and maybe going to be sending some nades their way soon if they've got a few more in tow. And now, Falcons does finally have to move blind.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. I mean, they probably made a lot of enemies in the meantime. You'd imagine that. There's definitely wanted posters out for them. Little Ghost looking over towards the boys on VP. A little underhander. It is nice, but Curexis is better. Kickstart, unfortunately, does spot that location. Little Ghost going down there is not ideal. But out. Little Ghost very low.
Would have been the perfect transition position for 17 if it wasn't for VP moving in underneath them. This is a really tough time now for 17 to make this work. And they really need the assistance of the rest of the lobby. Please, somehow, rest of the lobby, shoot at Virtus Pro for 17 Gaming. But Little Ghost is now down to Tamvu. They're going to be backfilling that position as well. So maybe they just moved there a little bit too early for the rest of the lobby to have their way.
All right, so how do we play this for Falcons? I mean, they know they've got to get rid of Crazy Raccoons. They're going to be a big issue. Crazy Raccoons, I don't know how much they have to move here, or if it pushes them out. It might be just barely. Falcons need to get rid of them. They have good eyes over towards Furious. They can move towards them, but do they even have vehicles?
Do they indeed? That is a lot of damage going their way here. And oh no, Tiggleton's car completely runs over some of the positions here. This Panzerfaust, does take down Tiggleton, but Glasgow's down in the process as well. It's all going to be on Inonix now for Crazy Raccoon, who are doing some genuinely crazy plays as they try and deal with what is going on. For Falcons, 4 kills going their way and then being forced out of this circle. It is a bit difficult now for them to do something about it. A big air bus. I'm surprised that didn't do more damage there from Shrimzy. Is that enough? No, bounces too far.
Nice shot though over towards Inonix. Shrimzy still making it work, but the shot's back towards them. Bit of vengeance from the other side of the map. Shrimzy goes down to Curexi. But Crazy Raccoons are alive. They are alive. 4AM in the meantime made their push over towards Furia now, trying to take over a pretty critical location on the map. Calmo in the smoke finds one, but is it too late for him? It seems like it is, as 4AM stays alive and Spaceman will put him down. Overall, though, good spot for 4AM. Good push in. DN Supers on the backside. It's Rex.
4AM was quiet in the north, and now they have really turned up the dial. See if they can get a little bit further into this, deal with some of these solos, deal with the remaining members of these teams, because everybody's been wounded heavily. And now 4AM also wounded as well by Rex. There's a big reason DN Supers were able to pick him up to try and replace Salute of all people. FM Pochon here, Rex really was their ace in the hole. And being able to take away from FM Pochon and find such a star player is a great pickup for Supers towards the tail end of what was 2025 into 2026. Can Rex deal with 4 man of 4AM? That would be unbelievable.
Good name for Spaceman back over towards Rex, but that one just doesn't go far enough. Just posted a little bit underneath the sill there, sadly. For Rex, it's looking like his ammo count's not great.
Could do it.
35 bullets, 21 in reserves.
He could do this. He actually... Oh, into the window! Lovely. That's 3! Can Rex continue this? I don't think he knows on the right-hand side. He's in the smokes at the moment. He may have just seen him with that jump peek across those smokes. Yes, he did. So now he could potentially react to this as well. This could be Rex going absolutely ballistic here at the moment. And he does! Oh, Winder! Oh my god, no! Winder gets him at the very end. The perspective change there for a second fooled me. Oh, but Rex, what an effort. What an effort.
A little bit. I mean, yeah, for Rex, with the limited ammo he had, but he had a lot of nades, right? It looked like he'd sacrificed all those bullets for a whole bag full of little grenades down there, pulling the apples alongside of him. T1, after their interesting 2v4, they managed to get them into a qualification spot yesterday. Now looking to put another chicken dinner underneath their belts. They're looking down towards the rest of VP with Type on side. Legend just making sure VP can't push over the hill, and they've got Heather in the backside here with the M249 on the assist.
Oh, calm down for a second there. That was crazy stuff. Winder, almost a 1v4 from Rex, but in the end, Winder shuts it down. 2 in the pocket here for Winder at the moment. Got Spaceman back up. What can happen a little bit more now? T1 has been sat on the northwest side of Hacienda del Patron for so long here. Not too many kills on the board for them, but enough to be able to get themselves in a position where maybe they can control some of this space. But they saw still the duos very, very deadly here, Blank.
Yeah, it's scary. Winder as well as Spaceman, Kerexi on the side alongside with Lukarux. These are very difficult players to deal with. Type is yet to make an appearance there towards VP, and right now T1 is kind of crushed between both these squads. Type steps up, but it's a little bit all over the place. And he will go down. Lukarux able to finish him.
Bit of a shame for T1 because I thought maybe they would have this in the bag if they were able to keep things going control when they're moving out of that northwest side of Hacienda del Patron despite all of the circles. Heather, though, M249 against Kerexi. Lukarux, they don't realize he's on the same rock and actually completely exposed, but he's missing the shots, trying to be very sneaky about the peek-ups, and he's got nothing. There's nothing there. It's the blue takes him.
Oh, he's spitting air at them. Doesn't happen. Winder now versus Heather and 4am. They play a good game. They allow VP to do that damage in. It should be the chicken dinner for them as they send the Molotovs over the top, preventing his push forward. Spaceman's on the emergency cover here. It should be a free game for them.
Should be. There it goes. 4am from the north side. Hacienda del Patron be damned because they didn't need it as all of these other teams tried to do something from that south as well as west side. But 4 angry men comes out swinging. Let's bring on Poro and Toffees back on in to talk about this one. This was a bit of a wild one, Poro, to get things a-rolling, and 4am does capitalize.
Say the least. I mean, it was all about survival in this one. It's just making the best out of a bad situation, and 4am survived to get to the very end there. Virtus Pro, I thought that they were going to be dead well before they ended up doing, and they actually ended up getting a nice little sack of kills for themselves. So great salvage game from a lot of teams in the lobby this time around.
Toffee?
Imagine a world where VP ends up in Survivor, lost 2 points. Because if Luca had more bullets, he would have had the flush and knock on Heather and the placement point as well for getting it. So, but he was out, and it was like Poro watching the gears like, oh my God, he's out of bullets. And it was like, I would be crazy to me if those 2 points made the difference in the end.
A crazy hold here as well by DN Supers with the reinforcing shots coming in as we watch this all go down. And again, you know, I almost lost my mind. It was almost a Rex 1v4 towards the very end. I didn't quite, like the tail end of that fight was a little bit chaotic, a little bit messy, but in the end, DN Supers got themselves plenty of points there, Blank, to be able to get themselves nicely up the table a little bit more.
Yeah, not a bad game. I mean, take that Petrichor Road. DL was just some unbelievably nasty shots. I love that end game, though. I mean, you don't often see like the tag team, right? You don't often see the tag team between 2 squads on the squad that has more players, right? And I think that's exactly what you see. 4am doesn't really get too much in with the action on the side of VP, and they just let that fight play out, which was the correct move, and it gives 4am that chicken dinner.
Yeah, definitely. And take a look a little bit further on as well. Tough times, really, Toffees, for Falcons, who had a compound for such a long time there, but then the transitions off of it. What are you supposed to do there, man? I'm not sure.
transitions were impossible. There were no buildings, and the ones that did have buildings, it was like gridlock at the barn, right? The fact that there's just BRDMs bumping into each other in a parking lot. So if you're the Falcons or anyone else outside that circle, you're like, how do I even, like, yeah, what do I do? Which is why we saw so much action. It was salvage game for so many of these teams, but not for 4AM. The fact that they walk out with 10 kills and 20 points after a less than stellar first game that only resulted in 1 point will now move them to the top of that leaderboard.
Yeah, 21 points for 4 Angry Men, finding themselves a strong spot, of course, in PGS1. They were trying and vying so closely for that championship, but it was just shy of their reach. Falcons with 20 points to be able to put themselves forwards. Poro, what do you think in terms of our 5 overall? Where is a cutoff here? Do you think Falcons and 4AM are pretty much going to be okay here for a top 8 already, or what do you think?
It's tough to say, right? Like it really kind of depends on if any of these teams that are at the top kind of put a couple more games together, and but you feel like Falcons are probably sitting pretty nice, right? Like you look at what yesterday's cut line was for 16, and then you subtract a game, and let's see. Let's look at, you know what? Now that you asked me that question, let's look at what it was last time. 28 points is what it was last time. So about around the same. So I think yeah, the way that they've been playing in that game, obviously they get a good compound, but they have to push away from. They still end up with 5 points overall. So as long as you just keep on adding to your total, right? You just don't end up with that 0 point game. As again, Rex, look at the old man. He went into the hyperbaric chain. He busted his hand up that one tournament, and ever since then, it's just been he's been unstoppable.
He's got a cyborg hand, Toffees. We know. We watched it as it all unfolded. At EWC, couldn't play, and then
that's what it was. EWC.
Yep. EWC, and this is how he prepares for EWC. He comes out here and makes hero plays by himself. And honestly, I thought for a second he was going to drop those lads, and he got hit from behind. I forgot who it was that popped up in that car, but took him out. I think it was a wild game, and I want to follow up on Poro's thing about where the cutoff is. I think those teams are safe, and here's why. We're going to game 3, and Twisted Minds is still at the bottom of the leaderboard. That's not something I expect to continue. They tend to thrive once we get off of those first 2 maps, and I think teams like Twisted making big pushes, and probably Gen G is going to pop off at some point here. That should secure those top teams, because one big Twisted Minds means that a whole bunch of points for the chase pack is now off the table, right, with only 3 games left to play. So I expect those teams who kind of dropped the ball in the first couple of games to have a big one, which should lock up those first 2 teams and make them pretty comfortable.
Do you agree with that, Blank, or which teams do we have to dangle the gummy worm in front of? Which ones need the bait?
I think I'd agree with that, man. I think there's a lot of our teams that are going to start to work their way back up again. I mean, Twisted Minds is definitely one of them. But I do worry slightly. I do worry slightly for Twisted Minds. It is feeling a little. I think once we've looked through group stage, right, and it didn't look great at the start. It did not look great at the start. We got the dark toffees over here. Okay, I like to see it. But then I feel like I'm saying something wrong as Toffees pulls up the hood.
No, he just does things.
Hey, look,
you gotta get used to it.
Don't let him distract you.
Dude,
don't let him knock you off your game.
I feel like I'm the
focus.
council. I'm like the council is watching me. But yeah, no, I don't know. I just feel like for Twisted Minds, it hasn't looked amazing. It hasn't looked super convincing either. I mean, yes, they made it into Winners Stage, but I want to see more from this squad.
So do I. All right, we're going to go to that break, and when we return here, we are going to see if Toffees can throw Blank off a little bit more. But we've still got 3 games to go. That? He's got the hot sauce. It's the hot sauce. We can fill Blank in the break. We'll see you in a few.
It just won't go down!
All units be advised, robbery in progress in the Diamond District.
There's nothing more I need to show.
Be advised, suspect is armed and extremely dangerous.
On the world stage, the gateway to becoming Battlegrounds esports champion, PUBG Global Series returns in 2026 with a brand new look. PGS is back this year with a total of 12 series, where 3 series are grouped into one circuit, making a total of 4 circuits before PGC. The biggest change in this PGS is that daily matches have been reduced from 6 to 5.
Pop off, King.
All right, we have got ourselves 3 more games here in the winners stage as we are live from Seoul, South Korea. And for some of our Korean teams here, they've been able to pop up in terms of man of the matches, in terms of some of the late game kills and all that has been going on. For T1, they found themselves in a spot here on northwest of Hacienda del Patron, and not doing too bad, but not quite converting into a win, Toffees.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, one of the things that I keep noticing over again is we're not converting to wins with T1, but we are converting to Heather plays, right? This idea of he keeps making these big come-up moments where he's getting doubles and triples, maybe saving someone for a salvage at the end. And so while T1 is not closing the deal like I expected them to at the release of TPP, I think Heather is the key to them still staying where they need to stay and make some big plays. Yeah, Type, EN, these guys are exciting, but Heather for me has always been a staple and continues to be even with this roster.
Yeah, actually, good point you brought up Heather now, as we can head over to an interview from him and T1 and see what Bella has found out.
Hi guys, it's Bella. I'm standing here with T1's Heather. Well, that last bit against VP and 4am and T1 was intense. So I want to ask you, before your unexpected loss, what were you guys thinking? 안녕하세요, 헤더 선수. 이제 VP와 4am과 T1이 남았을 때 마지막에 조금 예상치 못한 손실을 입으셨잖아요. 그 마지막 부분에 어떤 뭔가 작전을 원래 염두에 두고 계셨을까요?
원래는 VP를 잡고 이제 저희는 4am을 마지막에 싸울 생각이었는데 좀 VP를 잡을 때 인원 손실이 난 게 아쉬운 것 같습니다.
Well, we were planning to take VP first and then move on to 4am, but you know we had to lose a couple of men early on, rather than unlike the things that we were expecting. Yeah, so you know it was only you left. So what was the change in mindset then? 이제 헤더 선수가 혼자 남았을 때 어떤 식으로 작전을 좀 다르게 고쳐보셨을까요?
원래 작전이 아까 말했던 거였다면은 좀 그게 작전이 좀 안 되고 이제 저 혼자 남았을 때 VP를 잡고 그냥 2등이라도 할 생각을 했습니다.
You know what? All slate wiped clean. I was like, maybe I should just hang until they fight it out so that we can come in second. All right, thank you, Heather, and best of luck to you. 감사합니다. 안녕.
And an annyeong to you too, Bella. That's right. She tries the waves. We've got the double waves. We've got the single waves. And it's exactly Toffees. That's a good way to describe it. It's adorable.
It is adorable.
Anyway, we are getting into our next match here for some of these teams. I will say, it is closer than it normally is after just 2 games, right, Poro? Considering that normally you would get a team coming out and they get themselves a 25-point game, or get themselves, anything beyond all of that, or 2 good games in a row. The fact that our top is only 21 after 2 games shows that this lobby is very close to one another.
Yeah, and we knew to expect this, right? Only 5 games. You saw 4 Angry Men take a 13-spot jump off of that victory last time. Yep. Twisted Minds is your team in dead last right now, but they've got 4 points, 1 good game. We'll put them right back in the mix, and the same goes to be said for everybody on that bottom 8 side. We'll have to keep an eye on that cut line as the day goes on.
All right, gents, time to take it away. Mr. Toffees as well as Mr. Poro here for game number 3.
Number 3. Tango, Poro, we get to do something a little bit different now. I think this is that game. Twisted Minds needs to come up. First game, they got knocked off their drop. It went badly for them. Last game, things fell apart as well. We're 3 games left to play. You got to make your move now, and this is a map where I think Twisted Minds has a good spot and can make the moves.
Got to make that terminal spot for them. They've obviously seen a lot of success playing out of that. Obviously going to depend a lot on how the circles play out, but it feels like we're really kind of dead center. So I don't know if we'll see another one of the circles like we saw yesterday, where it's just hugging that right side, at least on our game, when it was like all the way over there to the east, all the way up to the very late game. It kind of made for a very, very wild and woolly early game where there was a lot of scrapping, a lot of fighting, a lot of violence that kind of impacted the rest of the game. So it looks like we'll avoid that for the time being.
If I know anything about our players, is they don't care for hugging, whether it's circles or just greetings in general, which is great because the amount of sickness at these events is shocking. All right, so let's talk about this plane right down the middle. We're waiting for that circle to pop. No contest early on. Liquid doing a nice little move here to sort of keep an eye on the crazy raccoons as they come down. They grab a car, and the shift chunks south. This is actually way more shocking. Like, this is a huge swing for this plane. I mean, the fact that it's a middle plane with a massive player spread and only 2 essentially and 3 teams are even in circle pop, that's pretty wild as far as circles go.
It's because I said something, right? Like I said that, the dead center play, we're probably not going to see a crazy circle where they're going to force all these teams to fight. Well, okay, this is going to be a crazy circle that's going to force a lot of these teams to fight, especially the ones that are up on the north side. All these teams that are going to have to make their way across bridges. You already see Nixie going to take to the friendly skies and start scouting out what things are looking like on the other side of that river, because there is going to be a lot of teams that are making their way in from the north, and there's not a way. You can't do any long wraps here, Toffees. You can't go all the way to the other side coming from the east or coming from the south, because that's either unplayable terrain or it's water.
Yeah, so we talk about in these maps, especially with tough circles, unlocking sort of your slice of the pie or your pizza, coming in with a, angled vector, right? You start wide, you work your way into a point, and that's going to be your new hold spot. You're absolutely right. Because this circle has knocked out easily, let's say, 60% of the approach vectors.
Uh-oh.
What? Oh, Cowboy, you're too close. You guys knew they were here. You slow dropped to watch them land here. That's okay. Cowboy gets away. He rides off into the sunset, and the crazy raccoons, they save Pio, because Cowboy, that was it. Cowboy was being a pest and attacking Pio. So that makes more sense. Anyway, the approach vectors here are going to be very difficult. You only have about 40% of your actual entry into the map available, which means quick moves or super late moves are the only real options here.
You get to see some quick highlights of that 4 a.m. victory that we saw last time around. Obviously getting a nice spot out there on the north early on led to some late game successes. But again, it was one of those games where it felt like all these teams that were finding themselves in the late game, they had to fight their way in to where they ended up. And 4 a.m. just happens to be the one that comes out on top as utility usage, kind of reigning the day and keeping 4 alive, especially when that hard shift away, pretty huge. And that's a massive Panzer, wasn't it?
It really was. I'm still getting used to this replay from the last game map stream, but I do find it fascinating. 4 a.m. Holden came out with the win. I was able to stop that super stab, which opened the door for them to be able to play this out in this sort of 1v1v or 1v1v2 situation. Heather survives simply because they're out of bullets over on the VP side, and then Foreign-Men's able to capitalize off the back of that. But can you imagine if Rex had pulled off that 4-piece that he almost managed? That would have been a completely different endgame.
So close. And I know James got baited a little bit there, but I think we were all really rooting for Rex to pull it off. But in the end, Winda kind of keeping his team alive, and as a result, they get that massive win for themselves. So we'll see what they can do in the next game after. We've seen it's a tale as old as time, Toffees. You have a really good game, and you come in the next game, and you go out early. But they are making a run now towards the center, and they're coming in on Team Liquid territory.
They are. So you see, I was speaking of the devil, and he was summoned as we got to watch Rex with a little bit of loot. Nice slow game for DNS so far, as they haven't had to take their fight. Foreign Men, again, like you said, trying to find something. Team Liquid has been here in the mix very, very early. They had a drop very close. They got to a center spot. You saw them mix it up with Crazy Raccoons a little bit. They're going to try to scare off 4 a.m. And what we now enter is the safari phase, where everyone's going to travel around and just try to find somewhere that no one else is. It's the opposite of hunting. It's trying to figure out where no one's located, and it's tough to do. Meanwhile, we get to go back. We get to watch the Supers and how they played this. Rex coming up over the top of the hill. This guy has been exciting since EWC last year. That injury, if it hadn't happened, I think it would have been a very different performance for his team at EWC. So he has been building this year and is only getting stronger.
And absolutely. And you almost saw him. We talked about it. Almost pulled off the amazing 1v3, but he still ends up getting the man of the match regardless. Well, Twisted Minds, they're getting a little bit close to 17. And Batulins will take this opportunity to stop down, take a few shots, but you don't want to stick around too long because you just never know if there's another team that's going to be bearing down on you. So Twisted Minds have that stopwatch in their heads. They know, okay, let's take a few shots and then get on the move once again.
The problem is they are parallel moving with 17. So if they both come in on the same vector, because to their left, there's not a lot. It's just kind of a big open space. They could bump up against 17, as 17 will probably get stopped by Petrichor and forced off to one side or the other. So we'll see if they end up bumping into each other. Meanwhile, the Falcons are going to start their rotation all the way up from the northeast side. They actually have one of the better paths in because they can run the borderline all the way south into the circle, and I think they should be relatively okay here. We should set them up for a very easy advance into the finals.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they did yesterday when we had circles that were covering on this eastern side. Is Ike's left, going to spot out Little Ghost, gets him so low, going to force him out of the US. I-26, though, he'll get the last shot into Little Ghost. And as you said, 17, they were running parallel to Twisted Minds. They run into Petrichor Road. There's just how this terrain works out, Toffee. So many hills, so many trees. A team can be right on top of you before you know it. And 17 going to be the one that suffers here for it.
Well, and here's the problem. So Petrichor was basically a ballast, and it was, are you going to bump 17 left or right? And they bumped him left, which is a huge win for Twisted Minds because Twisted saw that fight. They were able to bump off the ballast to the east side, and they actually now have a decent spot in circle when the shift goes north, inevitably on phase 4. So I think Twisted is actually moving to a pretty good spot, and that is almost exclusively because 17 rotated a little bit ahead of them and found Petrichor by accident.
It's interesting to note, that this far south circle shift, and we were kind of thinking that maybe these teams would kind of run into each other early game, but it seems like the timings have worked out to where every team is kind of finishing their looting phase and starting their rotation phase at different times. So they're not running into each other as much in rotation, and they're all kind of coming in very late. And then if you look at the circle on the map, everybody is centered up, just dead center. Nobody really playing around the edges except for the teams that are kind of making their way in right now.
Well, I mean, the circle is almost like a tree ring, right? You can tell the age of your rotation by where you are in the circle. The guys who are willing to move early and aggressively, they're all in the center. And then you're like, I had a long drop. Like, I'm going to move late. I'm going to be one of those end rings that comes in as this circle closes. And I think that's why we're not seeing fighting, is everyone's sort of staggering this out based on their experience with other teams on this map, right? This is international play, but these guys know each other's style very, very well. They spend a lot of time studying it. They have analysts who are there to say, this is how these teams handle these rotations. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of sort of backfill and a lot of layers. What the problem is, the next two shifts are going to be pretty aggressive. And when they do, bodies will start to drop.
Yeah, dead center around Ohyang is probably about the most violent place that we got. Is it looks like we'll get Shilla back for S2G. They lost him early, but we're able to get his blue chip and get him back on the field of play. They're still coming in from the north side, though. So Shilla will be dropping down. I imagine, I wouldn't be surprised to see him actually go into the city of Ilhyang. Just given the fact that he is a solo, they have no idea what to expect around here. But you see 4 a.m. is already there, and Twisted Minds has made their way into the eastern side of the city. So maybe Shilla will pick a spot just on the outskirts and wait for his squad to arrive.
This is one of those dangers, though. I don't know about going into some of these little compound areas. They're going to be tough to get out later. Ohyang will be in for a while, I would assume, but at some point, it's going to become a real tough spot to make your way out of. So we'll see how they end up there. Still, no big fights, but the circle is closing. The last groups are joining. S2G backfill, sort of following behind the Falcons, and this ambush has not quite broken out yet. And even when it does, I don't know that it's really going to turn into a full-blown fight as much as an agreement not to overextend against each other.
It might be, and I think this is just really 4 a.m., just making sure that Twisted Minds didn't try to take any more territory inside that city. Or if they did, they would get caught out. But Twisted, they were never hoping to do that. They wanted to be able to escape as quickly as possible. And actually, Shen going to land some nice shots there onto Lu as he is the last one to leave. And he's going to have to stop down here, Toffees. We'll see if he's able to get the heal off and get on the move once again quickly and rejoin the rest of his squad.
Hopefully my emergency alert did not come through the microphone. All right, so Kraken going to be landing there. Furia in a really good spot as they come in to the game here. South, relatively uncontested. Kraken using his time in the air to scout for the rest of his team as they push forward. Now we have the first ambush. I don't believe they know full sense is here.
No, Super's just sending it right in, and Full Sense has the roof lines, but they don't have the angles because Supers has that low ground that they can kind of play around, and they're not overextending from it. They're just kind of using this opportunity to look back over towards Petrichor Road, who is taking shots at 17, going to get another member down. So Xiao Wu is out, and that's going to be 17 down to just 2.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for 17. They're sitting, I think in a pretty okay spot coming into this at 14 points, but not enough to be comfortable. So losing 2 now means this game is going to be a bit of a salvage for them going forward. So I'm curious to see how they manage that, because when you talk about that cutoff, remember, top 8 get to go straight to the finals. The rest have to fight for their life tomorrow, and it is very congested down there at the bottom.
All right, S2G, they've picked up their fallen man, but they are running into the middle of Falcon. Shrimsy, Tickleton will get kept. Baron's going to go down. Shrimsy gets traded, but that should be a fairly easy res. Leza stuck at a rock now, and he's going to get taken down by Gustav. So S2G down to just 1 player as they tried to take that same path that Falcons did, and Falcons were ready.
Falcons was there first. Yep, they were capped out. It's a weird spot, right? Like, they actually did a really nice use rock scout spread for the Falcons here, and I think this was meant to be if someone drives through here, they will suffer. Shilla, the last man standing, though, he chooses to come in and get into the kerfuffle instead of just diving for the middle. I find that interesting.
Yeah, looks like he might have been the trailing member of the squad. So the rest of the team kind of made it through. Shilla off in the distance. I think Kickstart spotted. Yeah, he sees that little head peeking around. So Falcons know that he is over there. And, well, if your investigating skills are pretty good, you're thinking that this is probably that last player, so you know it's a solo.
Why would you leave?
100% going to push that.
They're rage pushing.
There we go. Yeah, Shilla will try to wait and go for the spray. He does get Gustav, and he is able to flush him. Or is he? Oh, no, flush it out. He's going to go down in the end. So Falcons do lose 1, but they get another kill, so they're up to 5, and that secures their hold a little bit further onto first place.
All right, so we see a little bit here. They went in, they pushed. Liquid actually was able to dig out Raining as they had a split between Raining and Heather on this compound. They back each other up, and now they're going to hold a bit of a 2-2 here as the fire coming in from the outside is kind of irrelevant. It's just Furia and T1 popping it that they're mad that Purdy and the boys just did that. But that was a great little push by Team Liquid to secure a center spot. I don't know about this split, though.
Wow,
Cowboy up there so far away is a little stressful.
It is, and I think as soon as that circle pops, you're going to see Cowboy and Luke immediately get in vehicles and get back on the move. Twisted Minds right behind them, but I don't think they'll get there in time. They'll see a few shots taken towards Luke 12, but that's going to be about it, and that's actually great news for Twisted because they're able to backfill and take this compound away for free.
So I do believe that the Falcons will be able to grab that blue chip from Gustav, try to push it and get him brought back if at all possible. Liquid's in one of the best pryos with the next shift because 4 will cut out water, which means it's going to go north and it's going to lock out a lot of the folks on the south side of the bay. Perfectus with a nice little spray here as Twisted Minds needs to have a good game. 0 kills on the board, but they have managed to sort of leapfrog their way into the circle and should be able to stay inside the next shift as long as they find a spot roughly where they are to stay in. The problem I have is it doesn't seem like they are in a game-winning spot unless they get really lucky on the next 2.
Yeah, and I think the way they were acting, you can kind of see that I don't think they feel the same, right? So, like, they are kind of flexing out from that compound, trying to see if they could take shots at anybody making rotation. Meanwhile, Full Sense, they're going to strike just as Supers is leaving. Deal will go down. Looks like the last remaining members of Supers are going to continue to send it, but they're going to be running into that Petrichor split and possibly right into Twisted Minds. So Supers in a lot of trouble now.
And Batulin waiting for it. Gets a little point here as Lou comes out to help. Rex goes down. Heaven goes down. And Supers thought they were going off on an easy transition, but those shots from behind that hit them from Full Sense in their little trap that they waited so long on just sent them into disarray. No tires, low health, and Twisted Mind says, thank you, nom, nom, nom.
And I love this. I mean, look at you see Perfectix using that big divot that was created presumably by a red zone to just play off of the compound itself. So he's getting a different angle, and they've actually been able to spot out Chewy. So Chewy from Petrichor Road now, the rest of Petrichor Road need to make their way into zone, but he has been spotted. 4 a.m. also coming in from that northern side as we see back with Falcons coming in from the east. They probably have eyes on Hospital, but Inonix is kind of guarding that revive station right now for Crazy Raccoon.
Well, that's the problem. So they got the pickup, they dropped by, they picked a couple things up from the crates, and they sent 2 for the res. I don't think they expect it to be camped. This is actually pretty wild how tight he is on this res station, but he's not doing it to be secretive. He's just doing it to mortar. They might actually get a pick on this.
Oh, if they can catch him before he's able to find out. But these are some good mortars from Inonix, at least, being sent over towards Virtus Pro. And I think that's actually Guyon and Pio giving them the distances and the angles. Be creating a little bit more cover for them to work around here as we see Shen make his way in that BRDM. He doesn't want to hop out because he has no HP left, but he's got to as the vehicle is about to explode and Twisted Minds get delivered. A few more points here from 4 a.m.
You brought it up. Batu had a great little spot in the off angle, and it worked out great for him there, though. Example gets knocked down. Lou has to come to the rescue. Batulin once again says, I got your back. I will not let you fall.
Holding the line here strong, Twisted Minds, but Petrichor Road, they're hovering around just on the north. They're waiting to see if they can maybe take Twisted Minds by surprise, take them at advantage while they have the knocked player. But Lou on time with it will take the first shots, but Chewy is looking. I-26 will go down as Perfectix has that off angle, still holding it strong.
They're fighting hard. They're down 1. They got him back up, and now Lou doing a great job of chasing Petrichor Road away. And Petrichor, to their credit, says maybe this is not the fight we want, and they're going to go ahead and get back behind this rock and sort of reconsider their options.
It absolutely is not. And now they have to worry about Full Sense that as they make their way in from that north side, the blue tickling right behind their heels as that circle has moved inland, as you said, but it is now starting to collapse. So this fight is going to have to come to a head. Full Sense immediately starting to send that utility, but there's so much room for Petrichor Road to run around. Doesn't matter, though, as Tigger will get the knock on Ike's left.
And now Twisted Minds should come in for the third party. This is great for them. They got circle, and they now have a TP option as they come in from behind. Full Sense and Petrichor have to finish this quickly because we got some hungry Twisted Minds boys pushing in from behind. They do. Batulin leads with that grenade. Heather manages to get Chewy, and that's a good drop down, but that's only helping Full Sense make this push. They've got 4 strong right now. Petrichor is eliminated as Full Sense Tigger makes a big run forward. T1 on the outskirts putting in some stabs, and Twisted Mind will probably pull back now. Full Sense at 4 strength with T1 hurting them is aggressive for Twisted Minds to stay with this. They come out, they throw grenades, and they call Batulin back.
Is really well played by Full Sense, and I think the only thing that's pulling them back is the fact that Perfectix got knocked by Virtus Pro, a third party, so that's going to prevent Twisted kind of keeping all their attention based over towards Full Sense, and Full Sense using that opportunity to escape off to the west. We'll see how they get their way in as Falcons will find themselves in the woods, but there's a furious Panther waiting for them to arrive as they get the knock onto Tiggleton. 2 alive here for Falcons.
Nice play. This is a big game for them as they got to try to make this push. VP's got a lot of cover provided in part by Crazy Raccoon, so it's going to be a tough push in to go up against them.
And now Falcons down to 1 as Virtus Pro has collapsed the fist. They are coming in from that low side. There's just 1 remaining for Falcons. He'll lay low as long as he can. Actually, really hard to read that name. Okay, it was Kickstart, and he goes down to a grenade from Beamy. So Falcons go out in 12th, but not before they collect 5 kills and get a little bit further ahead of 4 a.m. in the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think a lot of those teams that were up on the north and outside the circle on the job are going to take anything north of 3 or 4 points as kind of a victory in this game. So Falcons able to get that 5 are going to be very, very happy. I'm not going to be happy with that, but they'll accept it as a means to possibly an end. Now, VP is in 3rd place. They're in a decent spot here. They've got a good spread in the circle and a lot of cover because teams have been shooting and throwing nades at them. But it's not enough. Pio pushes forward. The Crazy Raccoons on the backstab, but now Nixie knows. Nixie turns back around, gets out some utility, drops a couple blue zones, and he's to take the fight back to them. But Inonix gets the flush on Curexi, and I'm curious to see if that means it slows down the assault here.
Instant knocking and flush, and there you go. Full Sense will get taken down in the end by T1 as they make the full send towards the middle. It worked out a little bit better for them than it did for Falcons. They find a little bit of a better spot, but Example has eyes on it as you see Type getting knocked here, and Onyx still trying to take shots over towards Virtus Pro. The crazy thing here for Crazy Raccoons is that they don't have everybody here. Glaz is off to the south. Guyon is keeping eyes to the north. Twisted Minds are on mortar. Posa is sitting on a mortar with no mortars to send. There you go. He's got a few now, as I think he's got eyes on T1's position.
He did. BL's actually off to the right. He was calling out the numbers for him. So this is BL's adjustments and Posa's shot as they try to take out T1. Beautiful call, BL.
Oh.
Nailed it.
And that's actually, it's going to be a grenade from Purdy Curdy. So the timing just working out a little bit nicely there as you see Type is actually getting knocked low. That's going to be another kill collected for Team Liquid here as they're now on their second one. And they're trying to get their revive as well under their fallen teammate. But that is terrible timing because Twisted Minds is going to make the push right in and they're going to get the knock on a Kurt.
Wow. So Twisted Minds playing this very aggressively. Example comes in, gets Purdy and the flush on Cowboy. And now they got the rock, but the chaos is still going to break out because Liquid's not excited about that. T1 eliminated elsewhere on the map as Perfectix comes through and says, we really wanted that compound, Liquid.
The mortar from Posa going to be the thing that finally does T1 in, and now Team Liquid will continue to send the grenades over, and it's a combination, mostly actually the hard work done there by Virtus Pro and by Nixie as they're up to 5 kills. But what a performance from Twisted Minds. It has been a slow start for them today, but 10 kills now, and they are out in 9th place.
Just keep digging, just keep digging. And honestly, that's been what worked for VP. They've been using outside cover and the fact that you can break terrain now to be their heaven sent here, is they've managed to survive constantly assaults by multiple teams who wanted this compound nearby them. Liquid ultimately comes away with it, and both of these two should be in a pretty good spot to wait this one out. Now, Myth has to push on Gen G. Gen G defending with as much utility as humanly possible, but once that utility runs out, they're going to have to charge over the hill.
We're keeping eyes on Gen G. They played from that south side. They were coming from the coastline, and they desperately need a good game here. You can see them currently in dead last, and now that circle going to pull away once again. Team Liquid, their compound, they picked the right one. Unfortunately for them, they lost 2 earlier from the push from Twisted Minds, and now Virtus Pro is staring down at them. We'll see if Gen G can get rid of Myth here and make their way in, but they now have to worry about the Expendables pushing up from their backside.
Yep. It's going to get messy real fast. Xiao Wu watching for the Crazy Raccoons. He's been playing this edge of the blue. Got a little camp going on. Chooses not to fire. Going to let the Crazy Raccoons just push off in front of him. How long can you let that happen, though?
Oh, he's so sneaky, isn't he? Well, there's something about Crazy Raccoon in Game 3 that is just magic waiting to happen as Gen G is able to get everybody back on their feet. But now Virtus Pro has an angle. They're going to get a knock on a 1. Bean is going to go down, but D will find the knock on a Scappy. Baron is going to go down as well. Jacob, the last player left alive. He's got a tree to keep him alive. He's going to find 2 knocks, though, as the last player alive for Myth will come out ahead, and he will take down Gen G by himself.
He came out ahead. He got a great play, but also one of those things like, did anybody really come out ahead here? Except for Tab, the Expendables. Glorious comes over the top and gets that free kill.
And Gen G's struggles continue here. Is now Tanvu who has that hillside. He's going to get the knock on Alo. Fortunately enough for Alo, he's able to get back to the compound, so might be able to get back on his feet. But Virtus Pro knows exactly who's there, and Luca Rux will get the angle, takes down Team Liquid as we are now down to our top 5.
VP in a great spot. They get that knock. They can take the compound. They're going to head straight towards it now. They did that off the back of a huge gift of boxes that landed on top of them, so they've got everything they could need. You can see some of those tier 3s being passed around by the guys. Wenbo just watching from the distance, and I think now's a great time to check in with one of our teams on the south as they try to figure out how do we get in here. It's Furia.
Tem cara no azul, tá? Entenderam? Vamos marcar onde tem cara, tá? Pra gente ter atenção.
É Crazy Raccoon no 4.
Tá.
Consigo olhar.
Ou AVP. Mano, escuta, essa bordoleira que tá aqui, ela tem ult, mano. Ela tá full.
Mano, é AVP, eu acho. Eles vão se fightar, então. Estão se fightando.
Eu consigo abrir aqui, eu consigo abrir reto aqui.
Tem um cara aqui, em algum lugar do amarelo. Ali morrendo
Eles tomou tiro,
eu acho que podia
ser na fight, tá? Se eles fightar.
Eu no 4 aqui, Biel.
A Crazy Raccoon tá full.
A borda é sua, tá, André? Tinha um cara no amarelo.
É. Não esquece que tinha um cara nesse server aqui, ó. Do laranja, tá?
Biel, quando eu for ganhar ali, consegue ganhar comigo ou posso?
Mano, o cara saiu da pedra, o cara saiu da pedra, velho.
Mano, eu consigo ganhar pro lado dele ali, André.
You can hear him translating information, but I'm going to say I apologize. I called for the comms. I didn't think that 17 was going to take that shot. I think he thought he was going to try to slow play that. But he gets wiped out by Crazy Raccoons, which really opens up the entire map right now for everyone to sort of wait this out.
Yeah, this is, I mean, this, you can hear the comms from Fury, but you can, I don't speak Portuguese, but I do know what things look like from the eye in the sky. They are not too terribly pressed on pushing over into Crazy Raccoon. Instead, I think they're trying to play it so that Crazy Raccoon can't wrap on them, and they would love for Crazy Raccoon and Virtus Pro to start fighting, and they would be in a better position to third party onto that. They are looking at a 4 alive here in the late game with only 14 remaining. That could be a huge win for Furia, as they have now put themselves above that 8th place cut line with 16 points, and they have a lot more to gain here if they can find a win.
This is a very big match. The Crazy Raccoons, man. Honestly, I think we were jokingly talking about game 3s with Crazy Raccoons earlier, but they somehow get insane points when it comes to game 3s, and I don't know why, but here they are again, causing a kerfuffle, messing everyone up, pushing other teams, and now back to VP. These guys have been active from the very start of this game, Poro, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down, despite the fact they lost someone early on.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this map. It seems to work out pretty well for Europeans as well, as this is where Twisted Minds finally secured their victory yesterday. And now Virtus Pro looking strong as Lucarux gets the knock on the Clories and is able to avoid the Kraken. And now they will turn their attention over towards the last player left alive for the Expendables in Tanvu, but it looks like they're going to lose Beamy for their trouble, as Nixie now going to be the last player left alive. He's got to stay in front of that cover. Oh, he's down to 36 HP as he tries to make the push in. We'll see if he gets away with it. No, Pio will take him down in the end.
The Crazy Raccoons are doing it as they're right in the middle of the circle. Fury is getting herded into a center spot where they're just going to be collapsing around him. Meanwhile, here comes the rest of the Expendables. He's like, I got to find somewhere to go. Tanvu, not a lot of options. Hey, I know this hole. This was made just for me.
Not a bad spot to play if you find it. There's a nice grenade from Guillaume. Will take down DraftKing. He tried to be the tip of the spear there for Furia, but he was spotted. And now Glaz in a beautiful flanking angle. But Pio is going to get taken down by Wembwa as 17 Gaming's last player will strike. He will get taken down in the end, though. But Furia now has an opportunity to capitalize or at least get their player back on his feet. You can see they're looking for Glaz. I think they know he's there, Toffees.
They have a rough idea. That's why they're slowing down their sort of res. Pio's going to get picked up. They haven't pushed for DraftKing yet, and this might actually buy Crazy Raccoons what they need. There comes the pickup. So they'll both go back to 4 strong. The real issue here is that last member of Expendables. I don't think either team knows where Tanvu went, and they're also smart enough to do the numbers. They're like, there's 9 people. There has to be someone who could ruin the game, because that's what's going to come down to. Either Tanvu watches this fight go down and he gets an easy second out of this, or one of these teams sweeps through his area and he becomes the backstab that costs whatever team it is that runs into him the game.
We'll see how this wild card ends up playing out as the pickaxes have come out for Crazy Raccoon. It looks like they're going to be digging themselves a hole here on the northern side of the circle, on the low side of the hill. Meanwhile, Furia kind of moving in tandem. They've left Biel close to the edge to make sure that nobody is back wrapping on them. And Glaz gets called back here for Crazy Raccoon, so no flanking angle coming in.
Upside, Pio was actually able to drop back to those boxes and re-up, I believe, his vest and possibly his helmet. So he's coming back into this at full strength, which is part of why they pulled Glaz back. The fact they could hit those boxes, get re-upped, and ready to come back into the fight, I think is a huge reset for them.
Okay, things are going to slow down here for the next few minutes as we see Crazy Raccoons just fortifying their position. A few of those deployable covers being dropped down, a few holes being dug here for Glaz as they want to kind of make this situation as difficult as possible for Furia to try to dig them out.
And that's going to be the tough part, getting them dug out. You can kind of hear it right now. But this is the nature of changing terrain means that a lot of these teams are willing to do stuff like this. They're willing to sort of take their time, set up a defensive position, and wait for things to start to close. Now, the fascinating part is Tanvu is about equidistant as the other two teams are currently from that center spot, which means he may still play a massive role.
Okay. Furia still working as a 4-man, kind of coming down slowly. They've got a rock. Let's see if they can spot out these guys. It looks like the smokes will slow things down just enough here. DraftKings, though, he's going to get a nice spray down. Not going to get a knock, not going to get much damage, but they now know where the Crazy Raccoon players are.
All right, here they come forward. This is the thing. Town Vu is able to hide, so he hopefully gets to have a second out of this as both teams slowly but surely make their way towards the center. They see the rock. They're moving to the smoke. This might be Town Vu ruining Furious' chances of a win if he decides to go for these 2 kills. Slow and steady. Town Vu waiting for his chance. Big fight starts to go. PO gets that grenade. Cooked up, gonna keep moving forward with the smokes. Poza gets the knock on Glaz. Very, very nice as Poza continues to push forward. Glaz is gonna knock himself with the grenade he was cooking. That makes that kill even more valuable for Poza.
Okay, the smokes are down. They're starting to bleed away though. So they'll slow down. Flashbangs are coming through, but you can see the pockets are pretty much empty. For most of these guys at this point, it looks like they've spotted out Tanvu, and that would be a big knock to get. That will take away that one wild card factor. But the grenade from Anonix is going to be perfect. Lands right on top of Posa and DraftKings. Anonix has the Panzerfaust. Will try to return the favor as well. Not going to find it. Tanvu does get taken down by Kraken in the end, but it might be too little here, too late for Furia, as it is a straight 3v2. Bielen's a Kraken. They have the hard cover, though.
Tanvu was the difference maker. They had to collapse on him and it put Furia on the back foot. Crazy Raccoons just spread out around them. He'll being pressured by the blue, pushes to the left side, catches the flank, and that'll be the end of it. The Crazy Raccoons, the Trash Kings themselves, the pub stars who take it to the internationals, come out with a huge win, and they did it on Game 3 as is tradition. Kylaris, Blank, welcome back. You said at the start of the day, Crazy Raccoons, Game 3. How did you know, James? How did you know?
There's just something about them. Game 3, Crazy Raccoons. It's written in the stars. What a game from them to be able to position themselves and try and launch into that top 8 and solidify a spot. It was looking a bit dicey. I'm going to be honest, in the previous games here, Blank, some crazy sends left, right, and center. But Game 3, Raccoons, there's some magic there.
Hey, there really is. I think it takes like 2 games to be like, well, this isn't working. Maybe we play a little bit slower from the edge. Potentially that might work. And it does. It does. But now this is where they'll go back to their old antics, because surely now that this has worked one time, maybe the other method will work too.
Maybe. Let's take a look back at everything that was going on, of course, here as the Crazy Raccoons. We called them the Ultra Pub squad as a whole. They've been able to work with this one. And Pora, I mean, the space that they had over on this eastern side, I feel like it was carved out for them in multiple phases in this game with, you know, Falcons dealing with S2G on this far side as we take a look at that straight away as well. It kind of opens things up on that eastern side because teams know that rotates are going to happen there. Therefore, maybe they're going to camp it out like Falcons did.
It's super dumb to me that the fact that the Crazy Raccoons win this game. Like, I don't know why this Game 3 Crazy Raccoons thing has become a meme with us, but it actually worked out this time. And now you just get to sit here and feel like you're a Nostradamus, Nos Calaris. But no, as you said, like it worked out beautifully. Like they had that city held down, and it felt like Falcons were going to try to make their way through and maybe catch them slipping, but nobody ever pressed them from that eastern side, and they just kind of got to make their way in and play like a typical edge team strategy with everything in front of them.
So I have a theory about why they're good on Game 3, because yes, we joked about it, and then I went back and looked at all their Game 3s, and they're actually pretty good. I think it's a transition phase for every other team where they look at the stats and they go, we're either ahead or we're behind, and their strategy changes a little bit to get more aggressive or become more defensive. The Crazy Raccoons don't do that. They don't care. They play exactly the same every single game, and that is, let's see if we can mess with someone, right? They were doing mortars on VP from the buildings. They slowed down the Falcons' res potential. They crashed in from behind. They see a fight. They take a fight. And I think on Game 3, when everyone's adjusting, it really works in their favor that they're still just trying to punch you as hard as they can.
Smiles abound there for the boys. We got 20 points going the way of Crazy Raccoon. A mixture of absolute legends, some veterans along the way here, and they get themselves #1. Furia, a very important game for them as well. Blank on that south side, sat in kind of that hillside with the trees and being able to burrow in and try and get things going. And 13 points, again, nothing to sniff at here for yet another America's team being able to launch themselves towards the top.
Yeah, getting 4th place off the back of this one's very, very nice. 23 points here overall. I mean, for Furia, they have had some consistent games today, always getting themselves set up. I mean, even early today on Erangel, getting themselves on top of Everest. It was a tough fight for them all the way through. I mean, Falcons get through that game because they don't get themselves involved, but Furia, very happy to go for those engagements. I think during that game, yeah, Tanfu was a big problem for them, though. It was a really critical position that they wanted to play off the back of. Him being there and also him being such a good player, it's an issue. It is an issue for you. I think that could have gone very differently, though, for them.
Toffees?
You know, I think while we look at Crazy Raccoons and Furia, I think another big team to talk about is Twisted Minds. We saw Lou on that comparison, 5 kills. Beamy was right below him with 4, and Example had the 2nd highest damage in that game. They came to play. While Crazy Raccoons put up some good numbers, we see the man of the match going to Inonix. I would also argue that Twisted Minds made a huge adjustment and came out very, very angry in this game. And despite not catching a circle they're used to catching, having a tough transition period, having to bounce off of that Petrichor hold at the very top, they came out with a lot of points in a very tough situation. And that's the Twisted Minds that I was sort of waiting to pop up here. So those next 2 games, they should be pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that a little bit more after our interview here, but what a throwback so far the start of this tournament is. You've got Ikeslef looking at a potential MVP spot. You've got Inonix getting man of the matches. What year is this? This is crazy. But anyway, let's head over to an interview with Fury as we've got DraftKings ready to go with Bella.
Hi guys, it's Bella. I'm standing here with Furious DraftKings. Well, that was a close one. You guys almost had it. What was the comms like when you were up against Crazy Raccoon? Were you guys confident that guys were gonna secure it?
Yeah, we thought we were winning. We saw the guy on the left in the smoke. We tried to kill him, and we got naded from across the map. I don't know.
You don't know what happened, but
we were just going naded and died.
Well, I mean, it's like definitely Crazy Raccoon. They showed up that they came with the experience that we were expecting from them, right? Well, we're halfway done, more than halfway done. What are your thoughts on for the rest of the 2 matches, because you need to make it, keep your spot here?
Yeah, I think we're pretty confident that we can make the qualifier. We still have 2 games, so we're gonna see what happens.
Okay, keep being confident. All right, thank you, DraftKings.
Clean and simple from DraftKings there. We thank him for the interview as he gets back into these next games. But yeah, let's continue on this tow line here, Poro, because it wasn't just Twisted Minds that actually finally did something, came alive as we poked them with a stick. It's also, Virtus Pro as well now, getting lofty positions here with a lot of points coming their way too for this one.
Yeah, I mean, the turnaround for Twisted was huge in that one, and honestly, it was just a result of just heads up play. Like they had that opportunity to kind of backfill a compound, and instead of sending all 4 into the compound, they kind of spread everybody out and try to get multiple angles because they knew all these teams were going to be making rotations in at the exact same time, and they end up kind of getting themselves in good position, repelling invaders in the form of Petrichor, and then coming out and going towards the blue to kind of take advantage of a third party of a fight there. So that was, I mean, that's classic Twisted Minds. It's what we expect from that squad. It's just finally they were in a position to really capitalize on what they're best at.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So that's kind of how things sit at the moment. Real spread of teams in this top 8 at the moment here, Blank. Any teams that you think that should be kind of bumping on up here, considering where, kind of their overall power level and maybe not even the top 8 right now? What do you think?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think a lot of the teams that I sort of wanted to see get up towards the top side have made it at this point in time. I mean, Twisted Minds off that last one was definitely the team I wanted to talk about. But I mean, if you just talk about both those EMEA teams individually, you can kind of collect them together a little bit more. That last game was way more aggressive than both of them. I think for Twisted Minds, it has been way more methodical the entirety through. I think both squads just gave it a bit more of a welly this time around, which makes sense because this lobby is aggressive. It's extremely aggressive right now.
Twisted Minds is an interesting topic, and we can actually deep dive a little bit further into this, because for my money, what I've seen from Twisted Minds so much is, and I very rarely criticize Twisted Minds, but here goes a slight one, is they just look a little bit slower than some of these lobbies at the moment. Oh my, well, that was a thing.
At least he's covering the muscle, so there's no embarrassment there.
Oh, dear me. I love Trinity. But yeah, I mean, do you kind of agree with that assessment, Toffees, compared to the rest of the lobby as that kind of months have gone on, years have gone on? It feels like Twisted is a little slower compared to what they used to be. Where are you at with it?
I think the change in format, not to TPP, but in general, less games and higher pressure has not sat well with Twisted Minds. They are a system team. They are very consistent. They like to run the same rotations. They are very controlled, right? They're about averages and then wins when the game is in their favor. And with 5-game series, I think that's a lot harder to do. On top of that, they've been studied, James, for like 3 years now. They are the number one study point of every single team at this tournament. When you make a book, you start with Twisted Minds. And that, I think, is the biggest problem. Every other team starts their tournament prep with Twisted Minds. And that is a hard thing to beat.
Yep, I think you're bang on. I think you're bang on, and I think it hasn't lent them any favors. So they've got to somehow continue to innovate here in a lobby that only gets harder and harder. All right, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you very much, Toffees, as we are now ready to rondo here. At least for Twisted Minds, maybe this is a chance for them from Testrack and Neox to be able to get something done unless they, for some reason, get challenged. Let's do it, Blank, because we've got our 4th game out of 5. It's almost over here in the winner's stage.
It feels a bit weird, to be honest with you, compared to yesterday, where it was never over. It kept going.
It was never over.
Yeah. But I get for Twisted Minds, for Virtus Pro, I think they're going for the right approach, just to be a little bit more unpredictable.
Let's see if they can do it. Let's see if they can keep things rolling. I mean, of course, it's just come off the back of Crazy Raccoon when it comes to unpredictability. Or maybe it is predictable that they are making crazy moves, and then therefore it's predictable, even though it's I'm lost. I'm gone.
Well, I think it's funny. It's funny though, because the way that Crazy Raccoons typically play, and I think the guys are bringing up, is that a lot of that space had been carved out for them.
Yeah, for this one.
But it meant that they couldn't crash anyone. They weren't allowed to crash anyone because there was no one to crash. So they just got themselves to an end game, which they're not terrible at, actually.
Well, Draft King here, we just interviewed him, and he starts off with D straight away. Technically a player he's very used to playing against because he was playing in the Americas region for quite a while. Poser down, sorry, Soul down even from Poser here to get this rolling on this hot drop. I'm very surprised that this hot drop is a thing. I guess maybe they just wanted to challenge for cars and go north from this one. But in the end, Furia right now, being the one that's winning things out, how on earth did Agslef just punch out Nixie?
Hey, he just boxed him. What's going on there? I mean, IT6 also takes down Lukarooks. This is looking pretty bad right now for VP, and you're right. But dear me, that's tough. That is tough down towards Hongshan.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a replay on that a little later on as well, because the double hot drop makes it difficult for them to be able to kind of fully observe, but at least we're getting to watch this one to its conclusion by the looks of things. Unless Bean now might just hide for a long time, right? They've lost Salute, they've lost Soul, they've lost D here for this one. Furia getting the better end. Jeez Louise, that was a shot and a half. Okay, from Bean.
Don't know if they're going to open him up for anything else. Yeah, well, the gas station right now being surviving off old gas station crisps and energy drinks and looking to move on out. Replenished, refreshed, maybe. Good to go. Not a lot of ammo, though.
Not a lot indeed. Okay, so I'm realizing exactly what actually happened with Nixie as I look at the map, because Petrichor Road is not in Hongshan. I guess what happened was Nixie dropped a little further out of Hongshan, maybe to get a vehicle or something like that, and then was challenged completely. So he's totally gone. Maybe they're going to need to try and find a blue chip and rares unless Petrichor Road picks it up, in which case it will be tracked. They will be able to keep a little bit of an eye on it, see if they can kind of maybe steal it down the line, unless they blow it up. But still, yeah, once it gets down to a 4v1, the one solo here for Gen G will stall it out. This deck really doesn't technically lend itself to Fury, even though they've got themselves plenty of points for their troubles.
I think when you're asking about teams that I didn't expect to be in towards that bottom A, I think Gen G probably is one of them. Not necessarily didn't expect them to be down towards the middle of the pack. I didn't expect them to be in 16th, though. 16th feels very out of character for this team. Then again, there's a huge amount of really good squads here. But for Gen G, I think they're a team that we're always expecting more from.
I think they just... absolutely. I mean, at the beginning of 2026, I really expected a lot from this team. Soul's back in, finally, into proper international play after having a strict and incredible hiatus. The fact that we didn't see him too much at all. Bean has finally actually flushed Josh. Jeez. I think he was trying to bait for the move and try and make something happen. But yeah, I mean, even still, 4th place over in PWS. I still don't think that their game plan and game looks very inspired at this level. I think they still look a bit disjointed. As Bean is trying to do something about this, trying to get some consolidation points. And kind of finish things off here, Blank.
We are playing silly business right now. Oh. Does find one, but just the knock, and there is a cacophony of bullets afterwards, announcing the success of Furia. But they are going to be late towards the zone now. Over on that northeast side, towards the eastern edge of Mehran. Bit awkward. Ike's left. Does find himself a good old knock and a flush over towards Team Liquid. I'm in Petrichor Road. Don't think I'm too worried about this team. I think they still have to go a little bit further if they want to get the confirmation in. I think they're on the edge right now, and there's no reason that I think the likes of Twisted Minds, S2G, DN Supers even, I think we're just waiting for a big game from that squad, honestly, at some point. Couldn't make their way up.
No, let's take a look back at what was going on over on Tego, as we kind of have all of our circles really navigating to very similar locations across multiple of these battlegrounds. So we end up down in the southeast once again here for this one. And you can see as the pings set up here for Crazy Raccoon, they're kind of thinking where teams could be, what rotation paths could be, where they could potentially hold ridge lines here to be able to deal with some of these teams. And I think they very much so knew how to dispatch a Furia and exactly where they were when this fight was going down eventually.
Look, man, I am convinced that for Crazy Raccoons, this game was just a case of we had no one to crash, therefore we were forced to play late game. But again, I genuinely think that's the case.
Oh, yes. The pained... Oh, God, we've got to split across a very smart location. Oh,
there's no one to kill early? What do you mean? Yeah, so, again, it's an interesting Crazy Raccoons.
Oh!
Good name from Beamy over towards Jacob, and gets the knock over towards Baron too. For Virtus Pro, obviously, it's an awkward start to their game with only 2 players and likely a demolishment of the blue chips by Petrichor Road.
It's a weird one, though, because I feel like Virtus Pro has been limping into most of these games, yet they're still in first place, which really shows kind of how close the lobby has been and how small, in inverted commas, the chicken dinners have been from the winners so far. So Virtus Pro, 29 points, despite, losing one early on Erangel, losing one early on the other maps, losing early. But yeah, we're somehow still there, which means that actually they've really got really good chances for winning PGSs yet again, considering if they just go into these late games with 4 alive.
I think for Virtus Pro, it's a matter of circles, really, for this squad. That's all it is. It's a matter of circles, understanding what's going on during these games, getting a little bit more of a... putting a pin in where players are. For instance, here, they're probably not going to make the same mistake again versus Petrichor Road in the future. I think for Virtus Pro, they're a constantly learning team. They're great at adaptations.
Yes, they are. And we saw that no more shy than what we saw over in PEC. It was fantastic to see them being able to take at least the first weekend's victory. As now Tiggleton and the boys here have rocked up in Hungshan and realized that Virtus Pro had left, so they're going to be able to take up residence in this, because a lot of this location becomes just very hot on a circle like this. Especially northeast of Hungshan is somewhere that a lot of teams will navigate towards, because technically speaking, in some of those areas, there's just less unplayable. So there's more likelihood that a circle could end up around there compared to, say, like, where all the pillars are, etc. But we have seen, those pillars sometimes exist in past Circle 4, and then it becomes an absolute crapshoot. It is crazy.
Yeah, it's unfun. Definitely unfun. For some teams, other teams would be loving life, really.
Oh, yeah, having a great time.
But Falcons, so you do wonder if this is the case. You see the 2 kills in the feed, right? You think you saw Virtus Pro likes to drop around there. We could probably pick up this position as they're not likely to stick around. And if that might just be a fantastic read coming through from the Falcons. 18% for Twisted Minds. Interesting. I mean, I think this is a map they're known for. So, yeah.
Yeah. There is so much strength in Test Track, so much strength in Neox Factory and things like that. Everyone knows that when you come to these locations and you have those kind of central drop spots, they're stronger middle drop spots than any other map. It's stronger than Pachinki. It's stronger than Picardo. It's stronger than, say, having, you know, the central spots on Tego, of which there are a few, being Terminal, Palace, wherever you want to kind of really navigate to, right? So, yeah, it's between Twisted Minds and Na'Vi and PEC, the win rate that they actually have on Rondo is bonkers.
We're getting a couple of players coming back in here. 17's picked up another player in Lil Ghost. They'll be returning to the fray on side. This is over towards that northwest as well. They're just coming off from like the little bankments that sit across from one another. We are pretty much just waiting for zone 2 on this one. I think most people have found themselves at home, and Crazy Raccoons are still working their way in. They were far on the northwest side at the start of the game. Yeah.
They really do like coming in late.
Someone's going to die soon, though, otherwise they're going to go for him.
Yeah, they sniff them out, you know, rummaging through the rubbish, seeing what they can find, jumping out with the little claws.
Yeah. The only way to deal with it is to get the Panzerfaust in the garbage can at this point.
Oh, no.
Seems to be the way to do it.
Don't need an exploded raccoon everywhere. That's awful.
They might be in there. They might not be. Okay.
You pick the wrong trash can. They jump out the other one. Ah.
It's like whacker raccoon.
Central.
Indeed, very central, which is actually probably fairly pleasant for a lot of our squads. We've had so many massively hard shifts on these initial circles, right down towards like the northeast, southwest, southeast sides of the map. It's been awkward, so this is probably a nice change of pace for a lot of squads. Team Liquid's going to try and take advantage of this early, get through the paddy fields as fast as possible, getting sort of towards a little bit more of a playable position. I think these guys have adapted the pickaxe extremely well. They're really good at locating spots on the map where they can kind of dig themselves in and then create a nice little area to sort of push out from.
Especially useful on Rondo, where actually like there are a lot of fields that are extremely open, especially in these kinds of areas, as well as west of Test Track and Neox Factory. So yeah, I think that some of these teams, they understand the extreme value of it here, as there's a few compounds here and there that these guys can reside in. And again, Rondo learnt from the Tego fields, in which they can have those lips on sides of fields that really do help teams actually be able to survive for a little while. But Schiller now and the boys against Myth, can they get rid of them here in this compound? I don't think they really need this fight or want this fight. Like, it's just kind of like a, okay, we're going to sniff things out. And yeah, just back off. I don't think that's a worthy fight at all.
Yeah, for them, they're sort of following the pheromones of Team Liquid, really, aren't they? That's where they sort of want to end up. So this fight doesn't really make sense for them to go for. They can head over towards that ridge side that does sit towards the north side of them, past the res beacon. Falcons also on this southwest side might be a little bit troublesome for them, but I don't think they're really looking out for too many players. Damage rank total, Shrimzy currently coming at 1,300 damage. Goodness me, what a guy he's been today.
And Kick in second place, despite IGLing here for the team as well. Gustav, I think, was in fourth, just behind Xiao Wu.
It's good results.
Yeah, Falcons just really, really kind of firing on all cylinders at the moment. And the thing is that even though I think it was Gustav in fourth, even if Tiggleton isn't there, like, you know that Tiggleton's good for it as well. So
he's just died a lot early, hasn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. There's been those moments. And of course, I think as time goes on, Tiggleton is a very similar mind of like what you see for the EMEA players, right? Of like, okay, yeah, he's going to gain momentum as the weeks go on. So when we roll into 5 and 6, I won't be surprised if you see Tiggleton up there getting man of the matches.
I don't know if we even will. I think that Tiggleton's strength when you watch him in these games is the fact that he's the guy that's willing to go forward all the time. He's the one that opens up the doorway, right? He comes with the key to a lot of these fights that lets the rest of the squad do well. I think that's an admirable trait, right? For a player that, you know, when you watch him on his streams, etc., is such a blaster. I think it's it's a good trait to be able to step back and be like, I'm going to be the front man for the squad. I will do that for the team.
Well, I was about to say, will they get mortared? But these mortars look to be setting up a potential transition for S2G more than anything, looking at the range. As Furia gets caught in another fight yet again. Or at least, actually, it's not a full fight. It's not like a crash or anything like that. They're just knocking the expendables from distance. You can see on the north side now. where are we going to go? There is still some slight problem areas that can occur, but straight center, which actually now means we've got a lot of options for our next circles here.
Well, I'm worried about Crazy Raccoons, though. I mean, look at that line. That looks delicious. You know, someone's going down. It might be Crazy Raccoons. I think full sense spot's good. Well, I quite like that. You know, a lot of capability around that location. That's on the southern side. You didn't quite catch it. But this is where Team Liquid can really start to create the tunnels, the mines towards the center of the map. But 4AM might be something they have to deal with first.
Yes, it may, as now they go for a bit of a send on through to see where they can find themselves. Maybe east of the little hillside, alongside Full Sense as well, wouldn't be too bad at all here for them. 17 Gaming dropping on in, or just one, in fact, as the rest of them do drive forwards. Poser takes down John here with Panzerfaust. Fury's just driving from fight to fight, and I like it. I like this aggressive style. They're in second place right now. 6 kills go their way as well. But Falcon's going to start shooting everything from that south side. There was mortars even raining down on that position as well. And Schiller takes down Wembois here with a nade, as they've had to leapfrog forward towards the position that 17 Gaming has just rocked up to, with cars as well as little ghosts from the air.
I think Fury's playing fast and loose, man, and I like it. I really do like it. I think they've got the capability to do it when they're pushing inwards.
I think so.
And it has worked out well for them here. Maybe it was a little bit of a slow start over in group stage, but they still made their way in. But this shows that this is a team definitely to be feared in the long run. So, yeah, good stuff for them. 60 limbs already at the 15-minute mark into the game.
I think Falcons knows that there's a team still in Hung Shan and is looking to maybe hold them out a little bit. And it is Versus Pro, of course, over there.
Yeah, I don't think Virtus Pro gets away with this one. Question is, how long do Falcons really want to delay for? I think it makes sense to delay as long as possible, so you're not getting backfilled on this one. But we'll see. We will see. They've still got S2G in front of them as well, 17 Gaming. Might be just waiting for that third-party potential. But if you can stick around for this amount of time, take out these 2 players, all the better.
Yep, Curix just down the road there from them. Full Sense is also charging up a bit of a more to play, looking the way of 17. Now, where 17 is gone, it's very clear from their from visually that they're in a very enclosed area. This could be a huge mortar if it connects. But we will see as they do move away. But Akuma will go down. You can see them scatter like ants there, realizing that they're all so close to one another. I wonder if Flash got some more shots, because if he was able to get a few more in, yes, he does. Oh, my days. But I think they should have eyes to the sky. It's whether or not you can push them into positions where you can shoot at them. That's the big deal.
How much further forward does he send it? Similar position.
That's good.
Yeah, Tigger's able to find Akuma as well. They are staying out of the way. That one's sent a little further forward, but it's S2G from that top side, taking some lovely shots downwards. Little Ghost goes down, Xiao Wu's down. Wembois still up behind, but a nade is continuing to put the pressure on.
We were talking about it when we were watching the previous game. Schiller has really always been the standout for this S2G roster at the moment, and he continues to do so. Double there here from them as the circle shifts north for this one. So all of those teams in the south side going to have to get moving as quickly as possible. Even Crazy Raccoon thread the needle, and here comes Ike's left to try and deal with S2G at the moment. He's looking for that MVP spot, no doubt about it.
God, I mean, you know, as we come off the back of the group stage yesterday, he was 600 damage ahead of anyone else in the lobby. Yep. Like, actually incredible stuff from Ike's left. Very surprising. But a good push in. For Petrichor Road, obviously, they are a little bit further down. We talked about this earlier, but 5 limbs on this game does set themselves up great. And Crazy Raccoons, like you said, what a run they made. Through the fire and the flames, able to get over towards the eastern side of the map.
Don't know how they do it. They're going to have to pick up a new lead singer and see what they can actually do from there as well. It's crazy stuff here. As now, we've got more shots coming on forwards. Cowboy, a little bit of a nade forwards as well here for Team Liquid, who's not had the best of days so far, but there's still an opportunity. Purdy Curdy opens up on Lazar to start things off. Quipper's making a dash for it, but it's not going to be enough at all as Cowboy instantly jumps on it. He has been a great addition to the team as Cowboy, as now they're on the cusp of being able to break into the top 8.
Yeah, Team Liquid Star Wrangler. He's doing some good stuff, honestly. I think having Cowboy there is just so good for the team. I think a lot of situations where they might have not had that firepower before, he is bringing it in droves. It's great to see. Petrichor Road, though, they're looking to secure themselves off the back of this game. 21 points now. If they get themselves a big win, it's pretty much done and dusted for them. But being out in this open area, it's a little rough. So they're looking to take down 4AM and kind of shunt their way further down towards... take down 17 and maybe swing around towards Team Liquid later.
Yeah, especially since Falcons prioritized like going elsewhere and not really holding out Virtus Pro, right? On that kind of my theorized where could they be looking when they were down on that south side. And that means now Virtus Pro had a bit of space on that west side and is being annoying over there and shooting towards some of these teams that will almost certainly hold them out. Speaking of holdouts, 4 a.m. here on the southeast, now getting absolutely blasted upon any potential entry that does come along. That's a huge long-range nade. And the problem is that DN Supers has a BRDM as well, so they've got a moving fortress. As now Falcons has opened up a little bit of a hole for themselves, looking to get themselves into this circle. There's mortars everywhere, Blank. There's nuts.
Yeah, it's so funny, like going to the players' POVs and they're just looking up at this guy. It's a Willem Dafoe moment almost. For Full Sense, it's a quick response time from them. They try and get Tigger over towards the eastern side of Falcons. They realize they can't let Falcons overlap them here.
Slow rolling going on some of these edges. It's not easy to be able to take these fights at the moment. And more nades come forward against Falcons. And now Tiggleton is down thanks to Thanadol. Full Sense moving in alongside Falcons here means that it is going to be difficult for them. I think it's the other way around. But the south shift, this could be huge for Team Liquid. I think they only have 3 alive at the moment, but still, that extreme central spot is potentially powerful. More sprays going forward there. Full Sense trying to shut down Falcons completely now, as it was Falcons that moved in, as I said, towards the end, and they are being punished for being in this little dip.
The End Supers, though, coming in from the eastern side. They spot over towards Full Sense. They might have just given the game away, but the BRDM comes in thick and fast. Almost catches him on the side of the tire. Won't quite get it. Gets a bit of a rubber burn over towards Full Sense, but he's not giving up easy. The nades continue to come in, takes a little bit more damage. Another nade does the trick. Heaven, happy to throw it over towards the BRDM. Knows his boy is safe. And this might have been a bit of a savior moment for the Falcons, at least, as DN Supers comes in to help him.
This is one of the most powerful things about the BRDM. You could just be right up on people and then just say, nade me, because you know where they are. You're not going to die off to the nade. DN Supers destroys Full Sense, and in the process sort of saves Falcons bacon.
Falcons very happy with the way that went out, but for DN Supers, this is a huge amount of space that they're able to chop up for themselves down towards the southeast side. Now, what can they get done with it?
What can they indeed? Tamvu and the boys. That's Furious campaign done in this game. 6 kills in the end, as that was a very prolonged fight with the Expendables. And technically, it did delay Expendables' shot at being able to get further into the circle, allowing Crazy Raccoon to leapfrog forwards ahead of their position onto what is a very important hillside for the previous circle. Maybe not as much into this one here, but Twisted Mind's now going up against T1. What can they get done?
Some minds there. Good set a couple of nades at the start here, but similarly, Team 1 sending some good ones back at their own. Not sure how Heather's alive there. Felt like he took about 1 billion shrapnel to the face. Does get himself set up inside the ditch. E-end also taking nades as Lou does not let up on the onslaught.
One thing that we're seeing there as well, whilst this is going on, is bringing the inflatable boat with you to actually cover some of these dips that you're going to be able to go for. It actually potentially negates some nades from being able to fall straight into your dips if you bring the inflatable boats with you. I can't believe I have to say this, because it's a ridiculous tactic, but it is certainly a tactic.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering what we were seeing there, but it does make a lot of sense to bring it with you.
I didn't think I'd see it in pro play, but here we are.
Yeah. You take whatever you can get, don't you, really? That's at the end of the day. Twisted Mind's down to just 2 players, but they continue to put up those kills. Last game with 10 kills, 0 points, so 0 placement points. They were on a bit of a tear themselves. Gam the Expendables just off towards their eastern side, and lo and behold, it is Tanvu once again, the ever-living component of Gam the Expendables, and a hard southeast shift. The Falcons definitely singing their praises towards DN Supers. That is if they leave them alone a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some fights that could easily break out very soon here. DN Supers, of course, they're still kind of like holding down on that side against the Falcons' position. Falcons doesn't really want to move too much at all, but there is going to need to be big moves going on at the moment here. The Expendables trying to send it on through alongside the road, but there's going to be a lot of teams shooting at them at the moment. Team Liquid also shutting down some of the moves that Petrichor Road wants to try and go for. And eventually, surely Crazy Raccoons and Twisted Minds has to move. Like, they have to do something here. And when they do it, especially Crazy Raccoons, it should be explosive because they've got to get across the road.
You know what? It is kind of impressive that VP gets that far in. Sadly, they don't get any placement points for the troubles, but it could have been a little bit different. Inonix, like you say, does get across that road, and that's a fantastic anchor point for the rest of the squad to play off the back of. I did want to quickly talk about, Kale, is the fact that this lineup from Team Liquid has been so well executed, right? This is a little unsafe where one of the players goes down, then maybe it's a bit of a problem for you, but it does eliminate a lot of the issues when it comes to mortars. We've seen so many trying to sink the battleship of Team Liquid, but they cannot find their number.
Yeah, they're very stalwart in it. They've been able to hold it for quite a long time. It gets a bit precarious, right? Especially now with teams coming close to them. How many nades do teams coming close to them have is the question. Alo sends one forwards against Glass, has the information, and oh my god, it's on the mark here from Alo. Can he get a little bit more here? With QBZ in hand of all things to try and go a little bit more aggressive on this. Peeking on over, seeing if he can find more Crazy Raccoons. None in the trash can just yet.
I mean, to be honest with you, if Team Liquid can clear out Crazy Raccoons, then it's a very big pickup, not only in terms of the kills, but also replenishment of the items, the utility, the ammo on side. He's a little bit worried to go for something. Knows that Twisted Mind's off in the distance, so sending some warning shots their way before he goes for the res.
Still, DN Supers looking around. See what we can actually find here from all of this. Still holding down that southeast side well. I thought maybe they were going to be able to put more shots in against Crazy Raccoons, considering how potentially open that could have been as a transition for them. Twisted Minds now, we've got the biggest challenge ahead of them. Throwing down a smoke wall here, Blank. Can they make it across? Oh, sees him.
Pretty much just going to be a bit of tiptoeing their way into the circle here. Use the M79 to try and open up the space here. Quick zigzag as well, and they just can't quite find the marks, can't quite find the targets. But Twisted Minds, what's the plan going forward? Pull out the Panzerfaust, locks it down, but Glass will shut it all out.
Few things from that. That was an insane nade. Second thing, I've never heard anybody call the smoke launch of the M79. You are crazy.
Hey.
But you're right. I mean, it is that. I just... Very particular, very particular. I like it.
You gotta be precise, man. Okay,
yeah,
it's important. So, I can see that people might not be calling it that.
Well, we got ourselves a little opportunity here still for Team Liquid to be able to try and hold on. The problem I still foresee is the fact that Crazy Raccoon, if they can kind of consolidate their angle of attack, I think they can conquer the solos, the individuals in these spots. Don't you think?
Yeah, I absolutely do think so. I think for Crazy Raccoons, they roughly know the direction that Team Liquid's playing from that initial nade that went over towards Glass, but there wasn't a full follow-up on that, and I think it's hard for Team Liquid when they're playing as 3. It does make sense to me. But they need to start doing something, right? Do they want to start working down towards the south side? Because right now, Team Liquid's doing a fantastic job of setting up the Raccoon enclosure.
I think that, you know, consolidating their efforts as well has been extremely important here. I think if they were divided an individual, it would be a problem. But Alo and Purdy Curdy looking for a potential double flank here to try and do something is good, and also opening up on PO as well. That said, though, Crazy Raccoon has taken #1 spot during all of this with the 7 kills that they've got coming in a little bit late into these circles. What can Cowboy actually do here? As he did see the transition forwards, he set alight that vehicle. That was an attempt at a nade, but a close of the door doesn't let it in.
Drops up the old tower shield, managed to block it back. To be honest, if he was able to get that knock, it was on the open for him. Now no door to be... Whoa, their door is still in play. Never mind. He's playing off it very, very well here.
Look at the door micro.
Nice little Molotov. Yeah, the door micro is crazy.
Deal also opening up on this as well. I thought DN Supers were going to have an angle on this much sooner, as now they completely light up Crazy Raccoon, and now they are caught between a rock and a hard place, and they are gone. No more raccoons in this lobby for the moment. The door micro goes absolutely wild for Cowboy, alongside just waiting for DN Supers to be able to save their bacon as well.
Yeah, it's a big door strack there. They couldn't quite figure out what was going on. And now Cowboy is going to be able to continue playing Halo still as well on that north side. I think for Team Liquid, this is a big game for them. 9 elims. They just want to get themselves towards a third or a second place. That'd be lovely to work with. Again, we've got to shout out Cowboy here. He is setting up a little fortress there for himself. Really nice stuff. Halo tries to hit the first aid in time. Won't quite grab it. Nade will put him down.
The hunger, the fire is back for Team Liquid. Yes, this is exactly what we needed for 2026. At the same time, though, did everyone forget about Myth? I did for a long time in this game. And now they still do have 2 alive here. Falcon's still 3 alive. They've not getting themselves many kills. It has been DN Supers really kind of running a lot of this lobby from their southeast side, really saving quite a few of these teams in scenarios where they probably could have fallen down to 4-mans. DN Supers looks to try and clean up Team Liquid as well. He goes for the spray here, lying down, but it's not going to be the case. Deal. Babsang head gets the shot down.
Yeah, again, for the boys on DN Supers, they've played it slow, right? I think it's undeniable to say that they've played it slow, but it's been very tactical on which fights they want to take, where they want to put the damage in. And that's led to a 10-kill game here. I think it's really, really nice from DN Supers. It's a team that I felt like has been on a big come up from that group stage and then consistently put in that work. It was only a matter of time for them. Though, big news, Falcon's still in. And I think with this game, they are super confirmed at this point. Probably was confirmed last game, but super confirmed now.
Yeah, and it looks in the one that's in potential danger still a little bit is Myth, of course, is kind of teetering on the edge of advancing and not. The Scappy does go down. It's going to be on some Kiss magic here to be able to make anything more happen from this game. Kickstart takes it. That's a 2-piece so far here from Falcons. If they do get the win, it's going to be a very small one, but it's going to be enough, right? I mean, that really feels like what they've been doing so far today, be it a slow, easy, slow kind of small win at the beginning of the day, taking that compound on Miramar, just slow rolling it in on this late stage as well. We listened in on Kickstart's comms as well, and they're very much clear about, like, just follow my comms, guys. Like, he's very, very stern in this, but I think it's the smart way to do it.
Yeah, at some point you do have to lay the gavel down, right? You gotta let the team know that we need to follow this comm. We have to do this together. We don't do it at all. And I think for Falcons, despite everything, this has been a really, really nice match for them. And I think it kind of resonates with their air angle as well, where it's been safety over everything. But a lot of times that is the best play you can make in these circumstances.
Of all solos to be still around when Falcons is trying to make a move, it's Kiss again.
Kiss, yeah. And that resonates with Miracle as well.
Yes, it does. And as we looked at Shrimsy's camera there, he has an audience, as the admins and the team handlers are overlooking him more than we're looking at Shrimsy. But anyway, there's still... I'm trying to think who really has the advantage here. I would still like to give it to DN Supers in terms of like having a bit of a higher ground advantage. They're also laying down some emergency cover here, a little bit closer to the middle, but already some shots being laid in here from Falcons Blank.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the big advantage that Falcons have right now. It's the Pride Rock, but once that's gone, I think life's going to get very hard for them. They're losing a lot of that bit of cover they'd set up earlier on by digging in. So likely they'll have to expend grenades to try and find somewhere to play, but even then, you're playing downhill into this. This feels like a DN Supers win every day.
Yeah, we didn't quite get much check on utility. We used to have this thing at the top that would show us all of the nades and stuff like that. I don't quite know what they've got. And Deal once again. Oh, dear me. That is Kiss gone. Nowhere near as much of a problem as he previously was when he was a solo. But look at that. Falcons has taken the opportunity with all the focus on Kiss, as well as those smokes cordoning off some of their vision, to try and crawl on forwards here. So they're not working with cover. They're just working with a lack of information here from DN Supers. But wait, they got 2.
I'm the last player alive here, and they're looking to make it happen. The Falcons fly high in match 4. How in the hell do they make that happen?
Even the cheeky little smile from Tiggleton there. He's pointing to him. He says he's got to do another dance. No, he's saying no dance. Oh, he can't believe it. The absolute scenes here from the floor in South Korea. I'm doing all the... Yeah, there. He's demonstrating... That's the commentary of the late game scenario here between those teams and players. Poro, Toffee's bringing them back in. What do you think of the overall dance analysis there, Poro?
Far.
I love that Yesterday we learned that James speaks Portuguese, and today we learned that he lip reads. So it's very impressive what we've been experiencing with James. But I love that. Second win. Was it Turkish? Oh, well, I'll bet you speak Portuguese too, if I don't miss.
I do.
Okay, he speaks everything. What he speaks is that end game. That was sick. Honestly, Bob Sang Head was the real deal. I thought they were going to close that out, but the Falcons got that crazy double, and then it was just unhinged after that. So what a cool end game. But for me, it was Shaq Strats, man. That was the most fun.
Yeah, we turned our attention so much to Cowboy there and the door micro Poro.
The fact that the door micro is now in the lexicon, like that's actually a thing that we're going to be carrying forward, is absolutely huge. And I love that for Cowboy, man. If you're going to have something named after you, then, might as well make it something cool.
Well, is that cool?
I thought it was cool.
Pretty cool to me. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we'll take it. But it was cool by Team Liquid, wall to wall, right, Blank? I think that they, as you say, they held it down really strong in the position that they did have for as long as they did, because it's not easy to be able to hold those kind of spots.
Yeah, they're a great team when it comes to like the Pantheon shield wall, aren't they? Really, I think that's the way I've seen them today. Is that the Phalanx, exactly. It's hard for them to really get taken out too much. I mean, yes, they got saved by DN Supers earlier in that game, but I think they played out the rest of it very well. And like I said, it really comes back to that Aaron goal from earlier. This is the team that knows how to stick around. Let's put it that way.
Huge timing towards the end game here, right? The fact that DN Supers is focusing on Kiss Poro and then the smoke as well to deny them any vision of what is going on Falcon's side. I think this was super important for them to deal with DN Supers.
Yeah, I honestly kind of lost track. We were bouncing around so much. I didn't see who it was that actually threw the smoke. Was that a Supers smoke, or was that a Falcons offensive smoke kind of forcing Supers to have to fight through it? Either way, it worked out well for Falcons, and the fact that Kiss actually was able to do some damage before he eventually went down also kind of helped things out. But in the end, obviously, Supers, boatload of kills going over for them, and that is a huge performance for them, as they really kind of needed something to go their way. They were sitting on the right side of the leaderboard for way too long.
Yeah, we said it during the cast offies, but it really did feel like, as much as, Supers doesn't get the victory here, they really did dictate a lot of what was going on in that game.
Yeah, so they were a team that came in 13th place. And what happens in 13th with 2 games left to play is you have to dictate pace. Supers knew that. Mm-hmm. They saw their compatriots win the last game, and they came out and got aggressive. They went from 13th with 13 points to 3rd with 30. That's what happens when the real deal says, I got this, and steps up and drags his team, human in heaven, with him, saying, this is us. We're going to win this. And they didn't win, but I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, they did.
Yeah. As long as he just changed his name back to Bob Sang Head. Please.
Bob Sang Head.
The Bob Sang Head. It's an important aspect of PUBG Esports.
We need this.
But again, looking at how this all boils down here, again, it's another smaller win here for Falcons, Blank, but a win nonetheless, when they were playing it in slow on the south side, and were in real danger from some of the teams looking down on them.
No, I mean, it's a confident way to qualify in, right? First place, It's looking great for them. You got the Tiggle 10-ton hammer coming through as well, 443 damage. Looks great for this guy. But yeah, overall, fantastic game. Really nice stuff. And I think that we do have to make a special mention towards Gustav. He has kept this team in real working order today. There have been some mental shots from him. Like, the shot that he made over towards DN Supers there, it was a pixel peak on the edge of one of those emergency cover flares. I was surprised he hit that.
Yeah, across the 2 games that he's shown up in, it's been 8 kills, right? Like 5 in the first one, 3 in this one as well. That's a really good. But deal, Bob Sang Head does get the man of the match. So happy to see that as well. As you guys said, they needed these points. And for me, whenever it comes to internationals, Poro, it's not actually, like, if Supers isn't there, or whatever iteration they've been in, DN Freaks, etc., and things like that, it feels like something's missing. They should be in these finals.
They should. I mean, and they've been playing very consistently throughout the day so far today, and that's kind of what was expected of them from the start, right? The fact that Falcons actually in first place is actually crazy, considering they were in 16th place last time around. We had the winner stage, so nice turnaround for them as well. But there's still a couple of teams on that right side of the leaderboard that I'm still kind of surprised to see over there with 1 game remaining.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll take a look at that in just a little bit's time. For now, let's go to an interview with Tiggleton, who hopefully is going to break down some of those dance maneuvers.
Hi guys, it's Will. I'm standing here with none other than Mr. Tiggleton. Yes, what were you saying when we just saw you after the match, when I requested for an interview?
I said, I don't think you want to interview me. I'm not doing anything. My team's carrying me.
Yes, that is true. 1 chicken down, 2 chicken down, and I would like to say maybe it all has to do with the little movement that we saw from you a little bit. Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, well, firstly, Gustav lost the challenge, and this guy just refuses to do like what he was meant to do. So I just had to pick it up for him, you know. I mean, support player. That's why I'm dropping no kills as well. This guy's just selfish.
Just dancing, but no kills. All right, well, hope you get more for our last match of the day. Thank you, Tig. And well, let's wave back to the boys.
God, hard-hitting stuff there from the guys.
Yeah, I'm kind of rubbish, but you know, it's all good.
I mean, actually, it's funny because we kind of talked about it during the game, right? As much as he hasn't been able to show up during this day so far here, Blank, there's no doubt a future where, yeah, he will show up and be an extremely important component of this team alongside the other killers.
I'd still stand by. I think he's an important component of the team right now. I think the fact that he's the front facer, it's a really, really tough part of the team to play, I think, because when it goes wrong, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. I mean, you could look back to some of the PEC scouters who are off the distance. They're going down all the time. I mean, Team Vitality suffer to this, right? Where you're looking at them, you're like, what's going on with that team? Yeah, Gedrox is going down all the time on the front line, but that's just part of playing that role. Sometimes it does look bad, but I think for Tiggleton, he's creating those openings, opening up that space for the rest of the squad.
All right, gents, time for a break. When we return, one more game here. For some of our teams, they're already in a really good spot to be able to go through in top 8. However, that means the cutoff point is going to be all the closer for all of these teams in the last game. We'll see you soon.
Sigma мовчить.
Hi guys, I'm Lucy, and I'm standing here with Navis Hakatori for our relay interview. Hi Hakatori.
Hi.
Batulins just picked you and left a question.
Why you are so good, Hakatori?
Я просто багато тренуюсь і мені трішки щастить.
Yeah, and is there any secret?
Ні, просто щастить.
So Navis on fire right now, and expectations are really high. Do you feel any pressure coming in today?
Ні, я вважаю, що це наоборот на нас впливає так, що ми будемо краще показувати свою гру і без ніякого натиску.
Yeah, and you've got this little bit mysterious kind of nonchalant vibe, and fans really seem to love that. Is there anything you would like to say to our fans?
Нічого не хочу. Sigma мовчить.
Who do you like to pass the baton, and what would you ask for them?
Хочу передати питання Examples is Minds. Як навчитися так добре давати інтерв'ю?
Yeah, thank you so much for the quick chat, and the relay will go on. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Robbery in progress in the Diamond District.
There's nothing more I need to show.
Be advised.
One last game here for the winner stage of PGS4, and we've got the opportunity here to watch all of these world-class teams duke it out in a very high-stakes match, because there is still so much to play for here with just one match remaining, because that cutoff point is ever close for these teams. I want to look at the overall leaderboards and see exactly how things sit, to see who's in the danger zone here, Toffees, and who is not, because there's still a lot of teams to play for these last spots.
As much as I want to double down on Sigmatory right now, we got to talk about stuff that's far more important, all right? Let's talk about the leaderboard, because right now at the top, we got Falcons has 2 chicken dinners, dominating Domination Nation, right? Crazy Raccoon's up there as well. Things that are shocking to me. 4 a.m. has one of the only other chicken dinners on the map, and they're outside the cutoff line, so they have to get back above the top 8. Twisted Minds, one of the best teams in the world. The whole world is chasing these guys. They have 19 points. They're in 12th going into this one, so they also have to come into this last game absolutely hunting and potentially dodging because they have the best drops in the entire industry, and there are teams that would love nothing more than to possibly have that in the finals, so they can try to mess with them here and tomorrow if they end up in the survival series. On top of that, we got Full Sense, the defending world champions, sitting at 13. They also need to make a big push. So the right side of the leaderboard is chock full, Poro, of really big hitters that haven't been hitting.
Yeah, this survival bracket is going to be looking extremely APAC heavy if Made in Thailand is not able to hold on to their 8th place spot. All 3 Americas teams. Just saying, clear the line there. At least for now. And then, I mean,
keep hyping it.
I don't want to. I refuse. But I think obviously we were hyping up Full Sense coming into today. Is 0 placement points on the day is not a good look for them. And then obviously Genji, Twisted Minds, big names. T1, nothing's been going their way either.
Sorry, just to inject, this really is our concern for Full Sense, right? Like, and it has been for such a long time. They have the peaks of becoming a world champion. They look as great as they do in the group stage, Toffees, and then now we're at 13 points. Like, if there is consistency from Full Sense, suddenly they really are the greatest team in the world. But where is it? Urgh.
The highs, the lows, the lows. Now, I will say, Full Sense has gotten kind of jumped a few times, like some hard crashes. That last game, that was almost a trolley push onto them that ultimately gave Falcons the win. So I'm not sure. I think this is the danger of being world champion, is everybody's watching now. When they see a chance to mess with you, they're going to come and do it because they're mad that you got a direct invite to the finals, and they are going to make you pay for that.
A trolley push. You had the hoodie before. Are you eating gummy worms in between these games? Is that what
do I have too much passion for you, James?
Oh, you've always got the passion for me. I'm okay for that.
Yes, I have. My wife hates my passion for you. She says it's unfair.
I know, it's the problem. But we have the passion for this very last game as well. Brilliant insights there, Blank, in that segment. As we now head over to Poro and Toffees for the final game here for the Winners Stage.
Well, all right, 1 game remaining to determine who will be moving on to the final and who will have to reset and re-rack come in tomorrow to play the bottom 8 from our group stages. Toffees, a lot still left on the line, and of course we got to be sending it over to Erangel for it.
Absolutely. We're going to go there to the grassy pastures. It's a North Plain, so the military island is off the table, which means this, well, most likely, I'll never judge fully, but it's off the table, which means everyone is going to be playing a very tight, easy rotations, lots of transitions available. As we see the plane come in, Falcons decides to go for an off drop. They're going to take that Kameshki Stalber split, lots of vision, lots of rotation potential for them. But at the end of the day, like, they're dominating right now. They don't actually need to do anything here except perhaps dictate the pace of what tomorrow looks like, because them, the Crazy Raccoons, Supers, these guys are locked in. They're easily top 8, no issue whatsoever. This is what I was worried about. Twisted Minds will be coming down with not only 1, but 2 teams that are in their general vicinity because A, weird plane, B, if I keep Twisted Minds out of my finals, you know I'm going to do it.
Well, we heard about the frustration expressed by Twisted Minds after game 1 whenever they ran into some early game struggles here, and now it looks like game 5 is going to provide the exact same thing. We'll see if they've re-racked their strategy this time around. Looks like they're just going to avoid North Georgia altogether and leave that for Furia and Crazy Raccoon. The circle does pop, and it is going to go over towards the west. The question left on everybody's mind, Toffees, are we going to see Everest yet again?
I mean, I think we already have someone, like, it looks like Clories is already headed up there because last time that worked out great for him against Kurt. But I can't fail but notice that Kurt and the Liquid guys are not sending there as fast as they did last time. Maybe having learned their lesson, is Purdy is going to go down to the Potter Tower by the bridge instead. So it looks like Liquid is going to take a different stance, whereas we're going to probably see Expendables go straight up again as they also loot and everyone's just watching to see who goes to the ridge. But it didn't work out last time, Poro. That was the thing about Everest, is all that work everyone put into it, that shift away, if it leaves Everest, makes it really kind of irrelevant to the late game. It can cost you everything because getting off of Everest is often more dangerous than climbing it.
It can be that way. And I think this time around, I think Everest may be a little bit more on the northern side of this circle. So probably won't see too many fights over it. But that being said, Toffees, as you saw how far north this plane was, there's so many teams up on the north of the riverside that I wouldn't be surprised if we see some rotations, these teams running into each other. Looks like Furia and Crazy Raccoon, despite sharing North George, are going to avoid each other for the most part. Team Liquid already finishing up their looting phase, and they're going to start heading towards that western coast. Meanwhile, Falcons up in Kameshki, they've got all the time in the world.
Yeah, Furia is going to be very aware that they are in a position where they don't want to fight. If they get 3 points, they move up above 30, then they're super safe, no issues whatsoever. But the fact is, it is still very tight in the mid-pack, and those guys who are sort of 3 above the cut are not going to waste time or effort risking that as we take a look back at some of the shifts from our last match that caused a fair amount of chaos, a fun door meta, but ultimately the Falcons, Tiggleton has been playing a much more support role with Gustav out in front. He sent up a mortar that ultimately the Falcons were able to use the cover spot from that mortar. Here it is to get them deeper into this game. That full sense push disintegrated, and it sort of worked out. So a lot of things got together to give Falcons that win. DNS backing off here. So it was one of those, but that's PUBG, right? It's a lot of things that come into effect that all have a huge impact on whether or not you win the game. And that's why you win the ones you do, but you have to salvage the ones you don't. Falcons thought they were salvaging and came away with the chicken dinner.
And Butterfly flaps its wings in Pachinki, and all of a sudden, now all of you are fighting for the win, and Falcons do get their second win of the day here in this winner's bracket.
Yep.
Looking good to start things off, but it is a long tournament, Toffees. We'll see if they can keep that performance going in the right direction as we check in here with 17 moving out of the south side of Pachinki.
They're going to go ahead and move. Nice little rotations here. You see DL and the Supers also making their transition. Some shots at everybody from the distance, but unless we get some lucky connections, this should be mostly a transition phase. I do want to double back, though, really quickly, because I think Tiggleton's been taking a lot of burns from people out there, saying he's not the performer. He's like, I'm underperforming. I'm not a highlight reel player. PUBG's not always about highlight reel, man. If you're one of the best players in the world and you can swallow your pride enough to sit there and let someone else get the big plays because they're in a better position for you to support them, that to me is that's what a real man does. Like, that's what a real PUBG player does, is they give up for the good of the team. And that is something unequivocally I believe Tiggleton brings to every roster he could ever serve on, particularly with these guys.
Hey, look. At the end of the day, nobody talks trash about bad players, right? Like, you talk trash about the good players because those are the ones that you hate. But looks like Petrichor Road, we're going to spot a bother there in the open fields, kind of push between 17 and Gen G. Gen G definitely